cover all of it just because how bad it might go, but I have no idea.
Huh.
All right. I think we're good to go. Good afternoon, folks. Welcome to Smudcast number 240. Anime, of all things, has a pedophile or pedophilia problem. I don't know in what context to take that. I don't know where this video is going to go. I just know it's 34 minutes long, and I can't believe this guy has so much evidence of, I'm assuming, creators, like artists and directors and what have you, have like these sort of weird takes. It's possible. I'm sure there are some out there, and they got caught for it. But I wouldn't say an entire genre, or sort of rather, entire media of film and animation has a problem like that. That does. It's like saying the movie industry has a pedophile problem. Or
Well, Hollywood certainly does.
I'm sure there are some weird, creepy dudes in Hollywood, but you have to be very, very specific not to insult everyone in Hollywood. Like, that's weird. That's just
I'd say the my guess is he's going for the lowly argument, and then the difference between Hollywood and anime would be Hollywood is the people in the background. When he complains about anime, it will be about the products that come out of it, not the people behind it. So that's also a difference in
right. So we're talking about the people, like the producers or the people who invest in these things. Maybe, sure, we could say that, but you have to be specific then. You have to say that the business side of anime has a pedophilia problem or whatever. But just saying anime as a subject is a horrible way to start a sentence. You're already assuming many things, and that is not a good premise to start with. But we'll see. Maybe it does have a pedophilia problem. I don't know. That's why we're watching this thing.
Can we talk about the thumbnail of this video? Is that on the...
Let me see if I can bring it up. There it is.
So I don't watch these before, like our brave curators. I don't know how you do it. So my takes are just completely. I mean, look at this. I asked whether this is the guy whose channel this is, and apparently I was told yes. And if you ever see this, you who made this video, if you write that headline, that title for your video, maybe don't choose a picture of yourself where you are the one who looks like a deranged, creepy fetishist of whatever, maybe even the topic.
It's like a creepy John Lennon lookalike something or other. I don't know. It's just...
I mean, who told you that those glasses look good? They don't even match your skull. Also, they're askew. And that mouth, that is not a position you want to have a photograph of yourself ever. I'm a bit dancing around because I ran out of caffeine. That's so don't expect too much from me tonight. But yeah, I'm just dancing around, and I'll just say it. With this title, you look like a pedophile on this picture. I'm sorry.
Yep.
So that is probably not going to help your argument, because usually we have to deal with people in these videos that are projecting all of their problems. I hope this isn't the case with you.
Yeah. Okay.
And especially in all of these abuse stories, it's oftentimes, as we've learned with all the male feminists.
Oh no.
Yeah, that they turn out to be the kind of opposite of what they pretend to be. So, I hope that's not the case for you. Just think more about your thumbnails, please.
This video specifically was published last year in November, and it has almost 6,300 views. It's a small YouTube channel with about 141 subscribers. So I'm assuming he just started out. He just does a whole bunch of stuff. Fine, good for him. He's getting going. Views.
That's a lot of views for so few subscribers.
Yeah, I know. It was something must have triggered this. And plus, there's a lot of upvotes. So I'm like, okay, maybe he's done some actual research. Maybe he knows what he's doing. That's fine.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I mean, there's not much to say. This guy has nothing in his about page to comment on. This will take some time if it's worth our time. If not, we're probably going to close it early and jump to another video. But pretty good ratio between subs and views. So let's see what we can do here.
Hey everyone, Ryker here. I just wanted to give you a content warning for this video. This video has discussions of pedophilia, sexual assault, harassment, suicide, and talks of child pornography. So please be aware of this before watching the video. Thank you. Hello everyone, Ryker here. And today I would like to have a discussion. As a white male born in America during the early 2000s, I watched quite a bit of anime. Because of this, I became engrossed in the
Am I having loading issues, or is this general?
It's working okay with me. How is it for you guys?
It keeps pausing on my end. I'll just refresh the page. Maybe that helps.
I'm at 37 seconds. So.
Yeah, same here. I don't know why. Yeah, let's see what happens.
All right. So he's got his camera on his table and he's pointing it up. It's like, okay, fine. He's talking with his hands. I do that a lot too. Fine, quirky.
It's probably a laptop.
A variety of shows. As time went on, though, I began to notice a trend among the medium. This trend being open and blatant pedophilia and overall sexualization of minors in the art form.
Okay, so he's not talking about the people behind the scenes. He's talking about the actual stories, the actual content. That is going to be a hard sell, my friend. I think the majority of people would have picked up on this a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, he's fairly young. He's probably in his early 20s at best. And he seems to be a fan since he's wearing different manga covered shirts. This looks like Deku, I think.
Possibly, yeah. Oh, sorry, I missed some super chats. Kyle Rocket, I bet my next paycheck it's mostly lowly. Maybe, but lowly is not pedophilia, so I don't know. Hussar Zve, this guy looks like he believes in QAnon. I don't know. He's a mystery to us. We don't know yet. We haven't quite figured him out. Anyway.
Not yet.
Now, looking at examples of this, I could look at low-hanging fruit such as Boku no Pico or Kodomo no Jikan, but I won't
pick the best answer you've got, buddy. Don't skim. Just take the whole thing.
For a few reasons. In the case of Boku no Pico, it is child porn, straight and simple, regardless of what the...
Okay, prove it. Prove it's child porn. Go ahead. Don't just say it's child porn. That doesn't help us.
I still haven't seen that one, so I can't say anything about it.
Just don't bother.
Creators say about it, and I will be talking about that shit at a later point in this video.
Okay, good.
As for Kodomo no Jikan, I will talk about it a little bit here, but the main reason for not going deeper is because, from what I can tell, most Western fans agree that it is gross and not good, and that's why the official English translation was in limbo for such a long time.
Okay, so let's assume he's right, and these two animes are, in fact, heavily about pedophilia. Okay? That's great. You've narrowed it down to two. That does not mean the entire media or the entire medium of anime has a pedophilia problem. All it means is it allows creators to do whatever the hell they want, which I don't see as a problem, because you can address these issues in whatever format you like, and if there's an audience for it, they're going to buy it. Maybe they will hate it. Maybe I don't really care what the opinion is, but there's an audience for it. So,
and this is and then you need to take into account Japanese culture and how they see things, and not just how open they are with whatever fetishes in their media. That doesn't necessarily need to be pedophilia. Of course, that kind of hentai also exists in manga for the most part. But also you have to take into account that while there are the occasional beautiful top-heavy Japanese girls, most of them are on the flat side. They look considerably younger than girls of the same age in Europe, for example, would look. This is even that this is very interesting because while for example US and European bra sizes differ, the cup sizes differ from where one cup starts and the other ends. This is an inch centimeter thing. The Japanese use the centimeter scale, but that the Europeans use, but all the cups are moved one level up. So a B cup in Europe would be a C cup in Japan, and the other way around, because that feels psychologically better for them, and because it's more rare there. So when you get all these insane cup sizes in these character sheets in anime and manga, to get a European comparison, you would have to change them all by one cup smaller. So when your busty anime goddess has a D cup, then that's actually just a C.
Wait a second. I'm just noticing. Did he just change his T-shirt?
Yes, he did.
He keeps changing his T-shirt every time he cuts away.
Oh.
He does several. He said, "Yeah." I just noticed 2 T-shirts so far.
Okay.
Maybe he's just cutting up different takes he did on several days. I wouldn't take too much issue with that. I doubt it's a skit. Otherwise, it will show itself as that. But I think he's just gonna try to make points and just does several takes for them. Yeah, but that's one physiological thing as to why younger when you have school stories, that there are way more flat-chested girls in manga, and in contrast to social justice comics, the body diversity in manga is among healthy girls is much bigger than you see among SJWs. SJWs only seem to know a couple not very attractive body types to my experience. That's its own topic, and then at some point we get into this into the loli topic, and that is after all of the other stuff. First, you need to recognize Japanese girls, teenagers, look much younger than they look in the West at the same age. That's a natural thing. So when we see then the product of their culture, that may look more eerie to some of us because we're not used to that.
It really depends on what the creators were inspired by to create their works. And we could argue because they're of the same physical location as the women of Japan, they'd be inspired that way. But we're talking about fetishization of a thing for specifically sexually arousing stories. So there's when I say anime and manga, there's something for everyone. There is literally something for everyone. So
yes,
you
will find a manga about plumbing heaters probably. That's a story about absolutely everything.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me that there's a market for that, and the fact that it's so weird and people can support that product is amazing. So they're not hurting anyone. They're having great times reading and watching and doing whatever. Good for them. I don't care. So again, even if there is the case where these 1 or 2 animes are straight up porn, you're like, well, it's porn. We know it. We know it's porn.
And the hentai is for adults.
Exactly. So it's not that big a deal. Anyway, let's just keep going. Alex Halo, hey, Japan is considered the safest place for kids and has the lowest crimes of every country, but people want to blame Japan for everything. I don't know if this guy's going to blame Japan or he's just making an observation that he doesn't like, because it's like, oh, look, this anime has murderers in it. It's like, yeah, so does most stories have people who kill other people. That's not a big deal. So,
Also, who's
on the
blaming
crime
Japan for everything?
well,
socialists probably, because they still get looked down upon heavily there for good reason. They have China right next to them. On the crime rate thing, I can believe that to a degree because Japan is still a very orderly society. However, there is something that skews the justice system a bit, and that is that very culture of honor and shame. Because they believe that the justice system cannot really do wrong, which can end up in innocent people admitting to crimes they didn't do just to not make the justice system look bad. This is not coerced as it would be in China. This is a general cultural thing, which is absolutely baffling to me. I mean, I love the Japanese culture, but there are some extreme manifestations of it where I just think, dude, this is getting overboard. Yeah, so it's relatively unheard of that people who have a lot of evidence against them, despite being innocent, will keep claiming to be innocent. They'll rather take the conviction just to not make anyone look bad. It's very strange.
all right, just in case you guys don't know, the gentleman to my left is Ken Kaneki. He wanted to pop on. I'm sure he's got lots to say, provided his microphone works. I don't even know. We haven't tested it. But if you want to talk and check your levels, that'd be great, Ken. We'd appreciate it.
Hello.
Hey, how's it going?
Hello, Ken.
Yeah, how's it going? Hey,
I've known your name from the chat. Hello.
Yeah, we've talked to each other in the Discord a bit. So what I wanted to address was like right at the beginning that the two examples that he mentioned, I think was Boku no Pico and Kodomo no Chikan. So the first one is literally a hentai, and that one I might be able to give him, like that is very like edging the line on what you could call pedophilia, because it's like an older man with like a younger guy that is like, I guess he's a trap. Like I don't know too much about it. It's like one of those entry-level anime memes where you prank somebody into watching it that don't know like any better yet. So that's like the most bare bones thing I know about it. And the other one is an anime, and it's like I think it's about a school teacher that's like 26, and there's this 9-year-old girl that hits on him, and it's kind of But the thing with those two examples is that I think it's really disingenuous because it's very specific examples that support his points compared to like all the other animes that exist.
Yeah, I mean, he could have said anime has a gay rape problem. And you're like, what? Are you serious?
Yeah, and when your examples are ecchi and hentai, that's like saying porn has a rape problem.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah, those two examples are like very infamous, very specific examples that support his point, and it's like not that widespread compared to like everything else. It's very specific examples that he cherry picked.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he'll narrow it down and he'll come to some actual criteria he's listing, because you can't just say that about all anime unless he's just being, I don't know, clickbaity. It wants to make a title like this. It always irks me when people start doing this. Like, oh, anyway, let's get going. If you want to join I don't know if you're in the watch together, you just click on the link above and we can watch together if you like.
We have 4 people right now.
There are 4 people?
There are 4 names.
Okay, good.
4, not 5.
All
4.
There are 4 names.
Oh, we got 5? Okay. 4 names!
Anyway.
Kodomo no Chikan is a series written by
Is he just showing off his wardrobe? Come on, dude. This is...
Yeah, this is not funny. You need to at least smile or something. Oh,
Blue,
that
whitish.
that
And
expression looks
like, you
bad.
see how far away like it's just, you see this weird shot of the corner of the room with an armoire. You're like, where are you? Like, is this the kitchen table? Like, what's going?
No, this looks like some in between corridor room. I mean, is this a German accent he has?
You would know
No
better
idea.
than me. Yeah, you would know better than me. I have no idea.
Not really. Germans have very, very different accents. It's
Okay.
very strange. But German apartments tend to have corridors, but usually you don't put tables there. It's just the corridor that connects all the other rooms. And I'm very surprised that, as far as I know, the colder parts of the US didn't build like that. They all just seem to build like, here's the door, and from the outside, and it goes into the living room. That is also the kitchen, and it's all horribly insulated. And in Europe, we have this habit of, even in our apartments, when you get into the apartment or the house, first you get into a corridor, and from that corridor connects to all the other rooms. And that corridor exists as an insulation room that you're not actively heating, so that when we all had ovens in all these single rooms that were still heated with coal, that the heat stayed in the one room that you were heating up, and not waste all the coal you had. So we have lots of small rooms in our apartments and houses, instead of these giant lofty things that you
Interesting.
have in America.
Okay, good to know the design of architecture and how to have non-electric heaters back in the day.
Yeah, which, by the way, completely broke my immersion when I watched, I think it was the third or fourth Born Identity movie. And because it was some scenes in Europe. It was some action scene breaking into an apartment, and it was clearly an American-style apartment, probably to not confuse the American audience. So they probably shot it in a studio instead of live on location, because it went right from the staircase into this American-style big living room thing with a kitchen corner, and that doesn't really exist in Europe. You have to look for that. That's an absolute obscurity here.
All right.
And I thought, dude, you just went from France or something, or Belgium, right to New York. What just happened? Was funny.
Okay.
But yeah, excursion into building culture.
All right. Okay. Here's Francis Board Coppola, and he actually gave a donation, and then he gave a super chat. So I don't know what you're doing, Francis, but thank you. Regardless, you're sort of throwing money at every direction, but that's good. People who cry anime fans are pedos are the kind of people who watch Big Mouth, which features Watch Big Mouth, which features a full scene of an underage girl's fanny, and their favorite movie is Call Me by Your Name.
Office,
that is
Netflix cartoon, I think.
that kind. Yeah,
Oh.
those
Big
kind of
Mouth has
cartoons.
its own issues.
Those kind of cartoons like Big Mouth, that is something you should talk about, because that definitely has a pedophilia problem.
Okay.
Yeah, it's really weird.
That seems to be made by pedophiles for pedophiles.
Oh my God, are you serious?
Yeah, someone find a video defending Big Mouth so we can cover it here.
Oh, God.
It's called
I
Big
I mean,
Mouth?
after,
Really?
after
Style is so
cuties,
disgusting.
after
It's
cuties,
literally
I'm not
called Big Mouth,
surprised.
yes.
Yes, and there's a certain preferred art style I've noticed among pedophiles when they make comics or cartoons. Like there's a relatively infamous, allegedly trans web comic series. Looks absolutely disgusting, and all the characters are supposedly in their mid to early preteens, like 5 or 6 or something. And they talk about genital issues and do all this trans nonsense, but it's just cross-dressing. Essentially, it's just fetish stuff, because the creator turned out to like pedophile shit after all. And the art style is contrary to manga and anime, which goes for positive aesthetic looks, that Western cartoon or comic style, it just looks like deformed baby heads, like these really big deformed foreheads that just, and the hairline way too far up, and it looks like babies.
Okay.
And they talk about sexual stuff and all of that, and it's
Wow.
just it's creepy, and I forgot the name. We talked about it with someone on the Discord who knows it. Maybe she's in the chat. It's infamous for turning people into transgenders as well. I just can't think of the name right now.
Transtrenders?
It's what people like me call SJWs, who pretend to be trans due to Münchhausen syndrome or hypochondria or social pressure, social contagion.
It's hip to be trans,
attention.
It's like, ooh, I'm so cool. I'm like,
I don't need gender dysphoria to be trans. I'm just socially transitioning. That's why I'm not cutting my beard and just wear a skirt. And now you must call me ma'am. So no, fuck you, fuck off.
Bull fucking shit.
All right, let's keep going. Now here's Francis Board Coppola's super chat. Thank you, sir. This guy lives in the house from Gone Baby Gone, where the cokeheads lived. Great movie. Check it out sometime. Yeah, that's maybe.
Yeah.
It definitely is a very beautiful armoire.
Yeah, I like it. It's at least mahogany, I think. So I can't really tell about the stain, but it.
I don't know. It's usually these things are made from oak.
Maybe they put like plates in there. I don't know. It feels like an old house, but anyway, it doesn't matter. Here's
Open
Alex Halo.
Are immovable.
A girl had a crush on her teacher, and she later decided to use that as idea for her over-the-top comedy manga. It got memed a lot. Okay, yeah, that happens a lot in manga, where a mangaka has a simple idea, and they just run with it, and that's as far as they went. But it got popular, so they just keep going, and they just say, "Hey, maybe this would have happened, maybe that would have happened," and it just fizzles out. So. Oh geez, why did you super chat that, Eric? Right, that is not. I just saw that I was having a thought, and that went, oh, dude, come on. Cuties is a great film. I don't know, sir. That's
no. I don't remember whether it was that Star Wars girl or one of the great female YouTubers. Made a really good analysis. Yeah, well, the ones I really like.
Oh, okay.
It was either that Star Wars girl. I don't know if Aiden did one. And God, I'm really down with the names today. Yeah, I think it was one of those two who made a really good analysis of that one. I think it was Anna.
All right.
Was it Jay Longbone maybe?
I thought about it. I had her name on the tip of my tongue, but I would have remembered her laughter. I think I don't think I saw Jay Longbone's take.
Okay, all right. I think we're good to go.
Is about a grade school girl who has a crush on her teacher. It's been a while since I paid the series any real attention.
That's Kodomo
to me. Aside from some not cool events that happened both in the anime and in the manga, was the character Mimi Usa. Mimi is a grade school girl with big boobs. This is a point the series makes multiple times, including a scene where the teacher, Daisuke Aoki, looks at them during gym. It's
okay. Sorry, I'm
awful.
getting.
Holy shit! Please stop.
Loading issues all the time.
Right,
I'm just shutting down software now. Okay. I'm just shutting down some software. Apparently, Evil was still running somehow, although it wasn't, and that's why Steam got hiccups.
It's working fine for me.
Yeah, must be on my end then.
And all right. Okay.
Free up some RAM. I'm here in a second.
Alex Halo. It mostly is infamous over here. Alex, are you referring to? What he's talking about now, or are you talking about Boku no Pico? Because they're both pretty well known. Anyway, reply in the chat. Here's Francis Bordecoppola again. Thank you, sir. Can Eric Wright please make a quick call to the FBI to inform them of his opinion on cuties, and call me by your name and Big Mouth while we're at it? Oh well. I don't know what Big Mouth is entirely, so I would have to
Don't
see.
look it up.
No?
And you're better off.
You don't need to know.
You will
You're
not want
better
to eat
off.
after that. You will not want to eat for a day.
Wow.
It also looks disgusting. Like the art style is just super off-putting.
Yeah.
Okay. I guess I won't watch. I wrote it down because everything I write down I'll watch. I'll just delete that then.
If you are familiar with the writings of the Marquis de Sade, Big Mouth seems to be a manifestation of that.
Oh. Okay. Why does that sound familiar? Marquis de Sade?
The guy who invented sadomasochism.
Oh. I was thinking something totally different. Never mind.
If I butchered the name, that's
Yeah,
because it's French.
Yeah, I was like, what? Oh, okay then.
Of course, a Frenchman would come up with that shit.
Yeah. The French. we love the French. They make excellent cuisine. And they have nice girls in Montreal. That's about all I could say. So
And they're very good at surrendering.
you know what? Good food and nice girls mean a lot to me. So that's enough. That's enough compliments of the French. So anyway, let's go.
In the series that I don't know about because I'm not reading that shit and you can't fucking make me. Fuck you. I will just read the Wikipedia entry on it. Thank you.
Also,
wait
you
a
didn't
second.
even read it.
So wait a second. He's trying to attack a thing he hasn't experienced. Like this is
He attacked it over the Wikipedia.
yeah. This is pedophilia because the wiki article told me so. All right. What is this? There's a random gap. Dude, do you know what video editing is? It's called dragging and dropping.
Wait,
This is weird. Okay, fine. Never mind.
I don't feel like fixing. So you're getting this dude. If you make videos, don't be lazy.
Guys,
But he does know. He
You have
does
to-
know about
you're
editing
taking-
because he has all those gaps where he has different shirts. So.
Well, as I said-
Dude,
That was-
you're taking the time to show us the content of your armor of invincibility.
that was
You have the time, your gaps in the video.
that was 12 seconds of. Was that a joke? I think that was a joke. He wanted to showcase. I don't know.
I'm not fixing this error, but I'm gonna show you all the shirts I have.
Yeah.
Dude, you don't have the energy for being funny right now. And if you want to do that, you need to come up with a different vibe.
You know what? I just realized Wisp just made a joke from 8-Bit Theater, in case you guys don't know the reference.
About time.
One of my favorite webcomics of all time.
It had an ending.
Sorry?
It had an ending.
It did. I guess he just wanted to finish it, but man, 8-Bit Theater, every week I was like, oh, it's out. Oh, I got to read it. Oh, loved it. Loved 8-Bit Theater. So good. Anyway, let's go.
Previously, I see these as low-hanging fruit. Your average anime fan isn't going to defend fucking Boku no Pico or Kodomo no Jikan. However, they will gladly go to bat for other shows that have similar problems, with one key difference. The characters being sexualized are high schoolers.
High school? What age range is that?
Before going any
5 seconds of nothing. He really does not know what he's doing.
No. Do you remember how last time I talked about scenic punctuation in Japanese animation and movie making? I'm sure this is just cinematic punctuation. That's
Oh,
what
it's like
he's
an
doing.
artistic thing he's doing. You think?
He's doing a thing.
He's trying to be.
He's giving
an
us
artiste.
time. He's giving his ideas time to breathe, for us
Yeah.
time to process them. I think that's a nice thing. I think that's nice. I will go in my head canon interpreting it that way because it's nice. And so far I can't see him not meaning well aside from his thumbnail.
Yeah, well.
Well, I mean, he made an argument based on reading Wikipedia. So
Well, the first question right now is high schoolers. What's the problem with high schoolers? What do you mean with sexualizing? High schoolers think about sex a lot. That's kind of the puberty thing. And school romance is kind of a common thing. And although we are in a time where about a quarter of guys doesn't get laid until 30, there are a lot of high schoolers who have a lot of sex and sexual partners, or at least fantasize about it. And that's kind of the thing here. So, dude, the target audience is the people depicted.
So
that's the same age range.
Here's Cyrek. My bet is my bet is he is going to bring up Toradora. Toradora, if you don't remember, it's a romantic comedy, I think, but not a little girl, but a girl who same age as the male character, and she's really tiny. That's it.
Yeah, she isn't even younger than him. She's just small.
Yeah, she's a small girl, and she's really feisty, so it's kind of cool. It's a funny anime, but there's nothing.
She's like a picture book tsundere.
Yeah, there's nothing. Well, yeah, they're kind of shy about emotions actually in that show, about romantic notions rather. So there's nothing really inherently sexual about it, I would say.
Is that a bit like Karikano?
Which one?
Karikano.
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 Yeah, Karikano. Yeah, I know.
Long time ago.
Yeah, no, I remember.
The Gynak thing.
Yeah, no, I remember Karikano. That is more traditional. This one is more like there's another female who likes the main character, and that's the whole love triangle thing. It is similar in that regard, yeah, but I don't know. It's just more modern. It's simpler. It's fun. It's simple. I like it. See, a lot of these romantic comedies don't have to be anything special, so there's nothing wrong with enjoying these things. All right, Francis Bortcoppola, now you're jumping to donations again. What are you doing? To answer Wisp, American high schoolers are typically 15 to 18, depending on birthdays. I wonder if he ever considered maybe the people sexualizing those characters are themselves in high school. Nah, that would prove his argument worthless. It depends if you're talking about middle school, what characters they're basing their ideas off. Because when you talk about anime or manga, you're not talking about Japanese high schoolers. You're talking about the setting being Japanese. But anime manga is its own realm. It's its own world of here's an idea of a Japanese high schooler, and the idea of aliens coming to visit him, and ESPers coming to be his friend, and a girl who's supposedly God, and you're like, okay, that's an anime plot. Sure, I guess they're like other kids their age, but there's really no correlation.
Yeah. Okay, so American high school is 9th grade up. Do I get that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Yeah, kids think about being close to others at that time a lot.
Yep.
When I don't have so crippling depression and other issues that is actually dead inside, they tend to think about these things and imagine stuff and fantasize, and it's also the time when kids are really creative in these things. When they have artistic streaks. I mean, have you ever looked at what the girls in your class are drawing for fun? They're not just there's I guess it's a subset of girls, but they're drawing guys making out.
The Fujoshis.
Yeah. And maybe they draw you and your best friend making out because they get off on that. That's high school. Hooray!
All right, so
humans are degenerates at almost all ages.
We're gonna find out what we've been staring at for the past few minutes. Butterflies. Whenever I think of butterflies, I think of Persona, but it could be many.
I was about to say the same thing. Like, is he gonna like reference Persona 4 or something?
This is more like
I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe Persona 3. I can't tell. It could be Persona 2.
Why are we guessing? We can just let him tell
All
us.
right, let's go.
Further, to clarify, this is not exclusive to anime, as I will be talking about certain games which use anime art and tropes. It also isn't exclusive to Japanese media, as American media that focuses on high schoolers often sexualizes them as well. There is also the porn industry.
Wait a second. He just showed a clip of an army.
The porn industry has nothing to do with anime.
What the hell does an army fighting with a magical butterfly flying around have anything to do with adult content? Like, what is he talking about?
I have no idea.
Usually, when
he goes right onto conflating everything animated with including the for simplicity's sake the cartoon porn with the stuff for children, I guess. This is insane. If he's German, I guess it's somewhere in northern Germany. He could be familiar with Franco-Belgian comics. And my God, is there a lot of sex in there? That's its own comic scene in Europe. And there's some really high-class quality stuff. There are some really amazing stories in there. If you've seen the Valerian movie, that's based on one of these things. And there's some that are just not super realistic. It's cartoonish styles, but it's essentially porn comics, but funny porn comics. And that doesn't mean that comics has a porn problem. You know, you're conflating different parts that just happen to be present in the same media. You have the normals, you have the stuff for kids, you have the stuff for teenagers, you have the stuff for adults, you have the fetish porn stuff. And those are all different categories. They're not just because they're all in the same rough style, very, very generalized, same Japanese style of drawing characters, doesn't mean that anime has a porn or pedophilia problem or something. Just because there's one bad apple in the bunch. That's just the style of this culture. I do not understand how people conflate
I
this.
would say, in general, anime has a dynamic breast problem, not a porn or a pedophilia problem. There's a lot of anime for all ages where
dynamic breast. Do you mean the physics?
The physics, the movement, the jiggle. There's always some well-endowed girl.
It honestly pulls me out of the immersion when it's not done well.
If it's done too much, I'm like, okay, that's too much physics happening on that part.
I'm always reminded of that one scene from High School of the Dead where he shoots the sniper rifle and the bullet goes right.
Yeah, but that was
between the
amazing.
boobs.
That was absolutely unrealistic, but it was amazing animation.
It's such a funny scene.
You know,
that was great.
You know, the animators are having fun when they do boobs that can dodge bullets. Okay, that's just like.
Yeah. That's if your boobs can do the matrix dodge without incinerating, great. I think someone did the physics on it and said by the speed the boobs had to move in order to dodge the bullet that way, they'd have to burn to a crisp due to the friction with the atmosphere or something. Yeah, great, wonderful. That is done for comedic purposes. It's I saw that scene more for comedic value than for this is hot. No, I saw it for comedic value. It made me laugh because boobs are not even when they're beautiful. They're not automatically solely and just sexual. They can also be funny. If you can't have fun with your body, and then I'm sorry, then you're more dead inside than me. And
yes, breasts are a very versatile organ of the human body. And
yes.
I think we need more artists to understand that and draw them in all the wonderful ways that
I think the Western world has lost its admiration for breasts, and I think part of that is due to these very, very jealous activists.
I don't know if it's admiration. I think it's respect. I think they don't respect breasts enough.
Yeah, you need to have respect. But, well, if you're jealous of something, you don't have respect for it.
Yeah, but those are women. They're all, she's got bigger whatever. It's like, that's normal. But I think respect in general, just to go, yes.
Yeah. I mean, look. Everyone, woman, man, you can work on having a great ass. That's just a question of sports, of working out, of dedication. Beautiful breasts. That is a gift of the gods.
I already like where this is going.
Or we could talk about certain chemicals that may or may not enhance bust size, but that's a whole other discussion. And
drink your milk, girls. Drink your milk.
Okay.
Drink milk so you can make it. Hey, you set it up.
All right, let's go.
Which finds big money in films about teenage or barely legal girls being pounded.
Okay, what's legal? Okay,
what is he talking about? What is going on in this scene?
That's not even a thing. What did he just say about teenage girls getting pounded?
Yeah.
You mean hentai?
Yep.
That's not an anime.
I need to restart. I need to try starting the other browser. Maybe that fixes my problem here. So give me a minute.
We're at
because he keeps cutting out words from me.
We're at 334. So
it should load that. Just give me a moment. I just heard that he says barely legal. Here we come to an international problem, and that is that every country has a different idea about what is a legal age of sexual intercourse and consent, and between what ages. Japan's age of consent is quite low. And then you take into consideration what I said earlier, where Japanese girls tend to be, compared to Caucasian girls, a bit less developed, let's say. So when you combine those two things, you end up...
It's an anime, don't worry about it. It's animated.
No, I'm just trying to explain that to him, that he's conflating things.
No, he's talking to him in the video. It's like it's animated. It's not real.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah, of course, but I suppose it's also... I would guess that...
He's like worried about the civil rights of anime characters.
I would guess that he believes in this entry drug narrative thing or something.
You know what? By the way,
it's usually the reason why people have issues with stuff like that. But there's more to that topic. I can say something on later.
By the way, does anyone know what is being played while he's talking? Because I don't think it's related to what he's talking about.
I have no idea.
Yeah, it's some sort of 3D war scene with magical butterflies flying around. So
I was trying to figure out what that gameplay is. Like, I think it's a game because he talked about games before. So
I was thinking Berserk, but I could be wrong. Probably it's way off. But anyway, let's keep going.
Hi, okay, nice meeting you.
Zach Reeds, thank you, Zach, for the donation. Wisp, he's doing you. You're more dead inside than me. Based. Okay, thanks, Zach.
Based.
Dude, if I've ever shared that, it won't be on Smudcast. That will just ruin everyone's week.
Stupid.
And we're here to have fun.
Yeah.
And I'm having fun. I'm on here having fun sometimes. It's amazing.
This makes me just want to rewatch the Ruo's Work Is Never Done out of spite. It's an anime.
What?
It's an anime. I don't know what the actual name of the board game was, so I just called it Parcheesi because it was asinine. But yeah, and in the anime, there's this guy that's like, there's like a schoolgirl that's into him, and he's like teaching her how to play Parcheesi. It's not really Parcheesi. I'm just calling it that because I'm being a jackass.
It's chess.
It wasn't chess. It was something else.
Well, Japanese chess. Shogi.
Is that what? Yeah,
Shogi,
that. Whatever the fuck. Yeah, Shogi. I can't remember that. I'm just going to keep calling it Parcheesi.
Okay. Here's Francis Ford Coppola. Back to donations. What are you doing, sir? I found it profoundly hypocritical that this putz is angry that fictional people being sexualized when actual women and children are being exploited by people. he probably votes for. I can agree it's kind of weird, but it's still ones and zeros or a drawing.
Very well pointed out. Whoever just said that.
Is the.
I'm not looking at the chat right now.
Yeah, that's the hypocrisy between social justice, whatever's, ranting about anime makes big boobs and sexualizes women to unrealistic blah 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 blah.
And then they make cuties.
And for one, but at the same time, these are the same people who cheer on all these Hollywood weirdos, and whether it's actors or producers, they always look away when it's either sexual abuse in the high places. When it depends on the actor. When they like the actor enough, then it's fine. Because, maybe he'll rape me. Oh, that would be so awesome. And or they defend outright pedophilia in Hollywood. Because that's what's going on there. I'm sorry. That's what a lot of actors have spoken about. And the moment they open their mouths, their careers are over.
Oh, that reminds me of, was it Elliot Page? Ellen Page. Sorry, she broke up with... her girlfriend as soon as she came out as trans or whatever.
Yeah, and that I read the letter of that, and I'm sorry, that reads like a I'll do this for social clout letter. Here's my virtue signaling. Please love me. Please give me attention. And it doesn't read like someone who is just happy to be rid of gender dysphoria. It doesn't read like that at all.
It was a bit. They put it on a magazine. I was like, okay, that's fine, but this is not. This is a weird. You like.
Yeah, but it's the hot thing in Hollywood right now.
It's like so that's personal and irrelevant to them as people. It's like, yeah, you think you want to do this, fine. Do you live your life? Love the people you want. Keep it personal. Don't. Why are you always coming out?
Yeah, look, there are people who write coming out letters, or after they post coming out letters
because it's good for their career.
No. Let me finish. Let me finish on this. Please. There are people with the actual gender dysphoria who finally come out in the workplace because their transition is starting or already midway or something, and they just get this off their chest. And when they write letters, it's usually just of absolute. It's just you just read pure relief and gratitude for everyone being so understanding and nice. That is what the real cases sound like. And then you have these ideologically possessed letters that go all for virtue signaling. That is what Page is doing. That is what philosophy tube was doing, and that is just all ideological propaganda sentence after ideological propaganda sentence. And we are such victims. I came out, and we are so harassed and persecuted everywhere. And just, what the fuck are you talking about? And there's maybe one short line about, it's good I came out now. And the rest is just a page full of this ideological drivel, because it's all virtue signaling and pandering. And that type of writing, that difference in writing, is a good example of how to spot someone who has a condition and is happy to be relieved of some of the pain of it and associated with it, and someone who probably doesn't have the condition but really likes the attention by pretending to have it. And because Page is now getting divorced from it was a lesbian marriage, which got great coverage in the beginning, and now, I guess this isn't the woman you married now, and that is often what happens when this comes out in lesbian relationships or gay relationships, because that's kind of not what you're sexually into. But Page is super happy now because there was this one headline of, I never got so many offerings for jobs as now. Yeah, because this is just and that's why people are doing it right now, because it opens doors. it's not because of these actors being trans. It's because it opens doors for them.
I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of them. I would even go so far as to say they probably all believe they actually have it because of the positive reinforcement they get.
That is one thing. The other thing is that they don't actually know what it actually feels like because social justice is completely suppressing any truth about it.
This sounds
Of what
awfully
that actually
similar
is.
to men coming out of the closet like 20 years ago or whatever it was, and all the clasps on the back and all the supporting gestures. Oh, but that was a real thing. Like that was like actual men who.
Oh! You have no idea. In the 80s, when all this gay liberation stuff started, there were men who pretended to be gay for the same social clout that we now have transgenders for. They weren't gay. They just said it to get this. Oh, that must be so hard for you. Oh, you're so brave. Oh, but they never had a male sexual partner because they weren't actually gay. They just wanted the attention. And we now have the same thing with this. And the same similar thing was probably always present with bisexual women, allegedly bisexual women, of which 90% never had a same-sex partner.
Yeah,
It's
they just kissed a girl at a
I don't
party
want to be the
because all the
boring
guys
one
thought
in
it
the
was
group.
hot.
Yeah, I don't want to be the boring one in the group. So everyone has some weird sexual thing now. So I'm bisexual. Oh yeah, okay, yeah, you're special now too. This is just the current. What boy band are you into?
Oh dear. Let us not jump into that topic. I think we're good stopping there. Let's keep going. Back on anime, I hope.
Let us never speak of it again.
Yeah.
In American media at some point in the future, but for now I want to focus on
It's
anime
Fire
and
Emblem.
Oh, yeah.
video games.
You gotta
didn't
be
get
flowers.
to
To start the
that
main
yet.
section of this video off, I'm
A
going
new
to talk about
t-shirt.
a specific genre of anime I watched a lot in middle school after I had just discovered masturbation. Ecchi. During this point in
What?
time, I watched quite a few ecchi shows, such as Heaven's Lost Property and... then-
Wait. When did he discover masturbation?
Do you really want to know and find? I don't. Oh.
What? That
What
was
the
a
fuck
weird
is this
thing
guy
to say.
talking about, man?
Dude? You're not funny. You're not funny. You lack a funny bone. You need a transplant.
Can we just?
I mean, look at this frame and tell me this is a funny man.
Well, I mean,
And I'm talking to you, maker of this video. Look at yourself. This is not a face and an attitude with which you make jokes. They do not come across. Sarcasm needs some sort of inflection in the voice that does the funny, that makes the oh god.
anyway, let's just try and get through this. This is gonna take us some time.
In these series, the main characters are in high school. They are high school students who are minors in the context of the story. Now, I'm going to bring up a bit of info here, because I know some loser nerds are going to bring it up in the comments, and they're going to be very mad.
The 5
There's
seconds.
the pauses again.
High school is the peak
age
of
consent in
puberty.
Japan is technically 13, and whether that's a good thing or not is a moral question, and not what I'm here to discuss. I believe that's a bad thing, but hey, that may just be me. However, just because
that
age
was an
consent
interesting
is
gesture
13
when you
does
said
not
that.
mean that the laws apply to them like they
You
do
are
to
nervous.
18-year-olds, as they do have certain protections in place. And it does not excuse the sexualization of these people who are made to represent minors, as they are still minors in the context of their stories.
Oh my god.
Another pause.
First, I would like to discuss Heaven's Lost Property, as it is the one that has the bigger fan base out of these two, and
I watched
the most
that
content
one.
in it to go over.
I'm curious what he's gonna
Heaven's
say.
Lost Property is primarily a comedy about a teenage boy, renowned by everyone he knows for being a giant pervert, who meets a robot angel.
I'm fascinated. I'm sorry, I have to pause. I'm absolutely. I have trouble focusing on his words right now because I'm absolutely hypnotized by his gestures. I know this is alleging a lot, but I think I've gathered some experience at this point. Are you repressed gay, or is there more to that? because those are those are all very effeminate hand gestures.
Maybe
It's
he's
either gay or there's some gender dysphoria.
maybe he's
there.
into fashion because he loves changing his clothing so much.
Yeah, but that's just I don't understand that joke. That's not funny. And you're not making the magical cuts where it's like subtle and people don't notice it. Dude,
It's annoying.
You're putting the effort into the wrong things.
Well, I'd rather watch this guy than Curio with his amazing makeup skills.
Definitely.
So.
Oh, definitely. This guy is making sense in contrast to Curio.
Oh God.
I mean, he's making coherent, logical arguments,
right.
Whether
Plus,
they have a footing or not.
He's talking about
there's logic here. Curio is
he's talking about the anime called. Well, he called it Heaven's
Lost Property.
Yeah, I didn't know it was called that, but I watched the original one called Sora no Otoshi something or other, and it's basically
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, that's the one. I thought that was hilarious. That was great. That was a fun little.
Yeah, that's a funny show.
Yeah, I mean the guy is a pervert to a point. Like he has his morals, and he always that's how he acts, and he has all these powerful angel creature android beings that support him and care for him, and he's always fighting I guess heaven or something. I can't remember the exact plot, but it was a funny romantic comedy with action. That's good. It's good. Anyway, I got a whole bunch of money thrown at me. I got to read these super chats. Okay, here's Cyrek. Thank you, Cyrek. I got this anime idea. There's this girl. She got some serious honkers. All right, I'm with you so far. A real set of badonkers. All right, you're repeating yourself. Packing some the Bond Honkeros massive. I can't pronounce these.
This sounds pretty good.
Massive Dahoon Kabankalus. What the big old
I think
Ton Honger Cougars. Giant
I think
bonk.
hearing Smudboy try to pronounce it makes it 10 times funnier than it already is.
Giant bonk Hana Hoogs. Humongous Hungolo Gonan Ologo.
How long is this message?
Thank you, Cyrek. That was beautiful. Please don't ever do it again.
Bless you.
Were those all
like
individual super chats or what?
That was one.
I think you should write.
That was all one.
I think you should
that's
write
a great
that was
sales
riveting.
pitch. I want to watch
That was riveting.
All right, here's
That was all one.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
They like to stretch it out, but he gets his money worth. He knows what he's doing. Francis Bordacopola, thank you, sir. Again, this gremlin is making me echoing nothing. Oh, sorry. This gremlin is making an echoing nothing burger of a video packed to the brim with bad faith arguments in his grandma's living room, and he has the audacity to call others loser nerds. Wonder when the last time it was he's seen a woman. Well, I don't know. I'm like Wisp. I'm getting a very effeminate vibe from this fellow. So I think he's sort of got that.
Yeah.
Maybe he's a closet femboy.
Closet.
No, that's the funny thing, and that's also something they don't talk about. Because it breaks the social constructionist blank slate argument of the communists. There are deeply entrenched biological wirings in the gay and the gender dysphoria. Like certain mannerisms, how you move, how you behave. You're not copying that. Of course, in the gay scene, there's a lot of rapport building, where that's where you get the flamboyancy from. That is over the top. That is not a natural thing. But especially when I'm talking about gender dysphoria, because it's so obvious with the people who have that.
All right,
and I'm talking mainly about the male to female version. There are inherent reflexes that you should only find in the other sex. Like it is it's absolutely baffling. And when the girl you are with, but depending if you are with a girl, has the courage, or is just so dazzled that she will just tell you, because there's nothing you tell a guy you just cuddled with, tells you, that was really weird because I felt like I was cuddling with a girl. That's not something you tell a guy. Unless you really mean that. Or you are really, really manipulative cunt. But I've been told that 3 times by 3 completely different women from very, very far away different places. This is something you do not learn.
He's been around. Folks.
All right, let's just leave it at that. Let's not assume anything. Let's not assume anything. We'll get.
Yeah, I just wanna say with that, and there are some more things I'll leave out. I'll leave out for now.
All right. Okay.
But
we're just putting it out there for lady number 4.
No. Just telling you. These things are hardwired. These things are hardwired. These are movements and mannerisms, and there are even some reflexes in like certain urges of how your body needs to move in order to feel good.
Oh.
And this is hardwired, and they are different between the sexes.
Okay, that's
if he has these very effeminate gestures, there may be something behind it. I don't know.
Let's not put words in our mouths. Okay, let's just keep going.
No, I don't want to. I just find it odd that he then of all people is talking about having trouble with sexual depictions in something.
So long as he keeps changing his shirts and keeps remembering to put the next shirt on, I'm okay. Okay. Don't pull a Taxon and we're good. All right, let's keep going.
It's like the meme with the level 1 crook and the level 50 boss, and he's like changing shirts every time he levels up.
Oh no. All right, let's keep going. Mike Testa, are you guys watching deleted psycho scenes? I don't know at this point. It feels like he's in someone's house though. But anyway, Francis Border Coppola, thanks again. I'm making an anime about a muscle mommy with Big Milky. And she's a sheriff in an old West town hunting a near-naked tomboy outlaw.
Muscle mommy with Big Milky. That should just be the description.
I did my best.
Oh, okay.
I'm a call it.
Sounds great.
I'm a call it. Here's the title. Let me read it. I'm a call it Bad Bitch Cassidy and the Sundance Cunt. To make the SJWs mad. They are both white and heterosexual.
That's great.
Whoa, that's edgy. White and heterosexual. Wow.
Oh, that's edgy. That's very brave, man. That's very brave.
Mark, I see you in the chat. I see what you're doing.
Yeah, Mark didn't want to come on today, so.
Why not?
I don't know. Anyway,
it's fine.
Let's get back to his grand description of. I can't remember what he was talking about, but we'll find out.
Heaven's lost property.
Who has cards that can grant wishes. Most of the show is episodic and centers on the wacky antics that happen because of the wishes. There's a lot of sexualization of the explicitly high school characters, including some I probably don't remember since I haven't watched the show in a very, very long time.
So we'll just go with your memory without any imagery? Nothing.
There's only 2 girls that are like high schoolers. The rest are the angels.
Yeah. And they beat the shit out of him every time.
What pisses me off in general with the current sort of discussion, whatever this is called, is, and I don't mean the stream here, but the bigger thing of critique and whatnot, is that people always just use buzzwords they just lately heard being used, and I know this just drags itself through time, but it's just so blatant lately with all the words that social justice uses a lot, because they are using the language to push narratives. That's why they redefine things. And when he says sexualization this, sexualization that, please explain to me what you mean with sexualization, because when the insinuation that social justice makes when it calls something sexualization is that it is always intentional objectification and derogatory. So when you say sexualization, the way you use it in a sentence, where you don't even conjugate it in whatever way, to make it. You just use the bland word and throw it in there. It's just a buzzword. You do not know what it means. When I have a beach episode, that can be sexual fun. Yeah. But not every sexual depiction, not every girl that has cleavage is automatically sexualized. You know, the female body then would, by nature, by definition, be sexualized anytime you see a single curve of it, which would then either mean
skin,
you wrap them all up.
Yeah, they see all skin as an entire gimp suit.
Yes, so either
when
you wrap
he's
them all up
talking
in
about
in towels and ropes, or you cut off all girls' curves, all their butts, all their hips, all their breasticles, and that seems to be what social justice is doing. It seems to favor the same kind of puritanism that led us to her ankle is exposed. Oh, I'm going to have an orgasm just from seeing it. Oh no. Or on the other hand, it's the same that radical Islam does. So, dude, if you have not made I don't know how to phrase this in English. That's why I'm using bad choice of words. Made your peace with your sexuality. If you're uncomfortable with your own sexuality still, then you need to grow up. It's not a bad thing, you know? And when you have a sexual encounter and you are more comfortable with your own body, and the one you're with is comfortable with his or her body, and you are comfortable with your sexuality, then that's much more fun than you being tense all the time. Either of you. Because that just ruins everything. That ruins your own experience. You need to grow up. Sexuality isn't inherently bad, and a girl having curves isn't automatically a thing of sexualization, a thing of of objectifying her or anything. Dude, what do you do if you go to the beach? Have you ever been on some island tourist hellhole beach and noticed that there are girls in bikinis everywhere? And the post-menopause mothers who are not as pretty anymore, but there are a lot of pretty girls. Are they all sexualized? Should they all be wrapped up?
Yes. They're all internally oppressed because they're sexy.
When they're talking about sexualization, all they mean is that there's a girl and they have big boobs. That's all it is.
Yeah.
All they mean it's a woman that doesn't make you want to throw up. That's what they mean.
Yeah,
it's not a land whale, so it's bad.
I agree. It is this because this whole problem with the where this buzzword, this is sexualization, that is sexualization, it stems from the unattractive, jealous feminists who want to get rid of the competition. That's where I've seen it emerge, and now it's just everywhere, and it brainwashes guys like this into being, I don't know, sexually repressed, submissive, white knighty slime. I don't know.
All right, let's
soy boys.
Let's try to keep going here. Here's another donation from Francis Board Coppola. The female characters we like have sex appeal and actual depth to their character. I think you mean depth to their character and personality.
Depth.
Yeah, depth.
Yeah. The female characters, this creature and his ilk are nothing but ugly sociopaths with no redeeming qualities.
Yeah. No, we like characters that have a deep psychology and nice tight asses.
And they like Captain Marvel and Rey.
You know, the interesting thing in manga and anime is that while the girls look pretty, they always have character.
Most of the time they do, yeah.
Yeah,
and they also kick ass.
The overwhelming time.
Well, it depends. It can depend on the show. Like, if it's a more campy show, they'll still be hot, but there won't be as much depth.
Right. I remember.
There's been this. I need to look that up at some point.
This guy just needs to
I
man
thought
up and
that's- I
watch some
thought-
high school DxD. That's what this guy
Oh.
needs to do.
I thought there's a hentai that is so well written that people skip the erotic scenes to see how the story continues.
I've done that. I didn't find
Yeah.
myself skipping the erotic scenes. I wouldn't take it that far. But yeah, I stayed for the plot.
There's a dojin that where I did that. I actually like the story. It's funny. That happens sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, when I was younger, I was reading genre topic or trope specific manga one after another, and when you do it that way, then or I didn't particularly like the art style. Yeah, I skipped that too because I just want to know what's going, how everything is continuing. That was more thing of I've seen too much of it already, so I'm just gonna binge through unless it's something that really ticks all the boxes, including an art style I'm really connecting with.
I think you're just a bigot.
Yeah, probably. I mean, let's be honest. Up here in my head, I don't discriminate. I just on superficial stuff. I value your character and all of that, and what you do, the Martin Luther King stuff. But the stuff between my legs, that discriminates all the fucking time. I don't know what's up there. It's not very woke down there. It's just yeah, it's a bigot down there. It's just when it's not over a certain cup size, then just nothing happens. I'm sorry. I still like you as a person. But it's just I can't see you as a sexually interesting creature. It's just not possible. So that's how I tick. Others are into asses. There are the ass types, there are the boob types, and I'm not an ass. That's
Don't forget about the
all
leg
there is
men.
to it.
I was
Yeah,
thinking
the
of
leg
characters that don't have much depth that are just there to be attractive, and the first thing that popped in my head was Asahina-san from Haruhi. She's kind of like she is the time traveler, so she can't reveal anything about herself as best she can, and
Yeah.
she's actually called the mascot of the group. So she's sort of wearing all these outfits and just being a cute little diminutive woman who is.
Isn't she even just playing the cute little dump girl?
She is playing that role because she wants Haruhi to behave herself because Haruhi is God, and everyone's very, very careful. So if Haruhi wants to do it, she'll do it, just because you got to be careful around her. So, but it's she gets a time traveling adult version of herself pop in, and she gives some backstory. So they play around with it, but that's the joy of that sort of show. You could play around with so many things when you have aliens and time travelers and espers and God just as your friends. So
Tits and asses.
and she's
look, the
adorable.
interesting thing is-
And
She is
thighs.
adorable
Yeah,
girl.
and look, the main girl. That's what you see. What you usually see in manga. The main
Thighs.
relationship that comes out at the end is usually not with the most top-heavy girl. It's with the girl in between all of them. That's
It's usually the
big
girl
story.
that's first introduced in the story.
Yeah, that as well.
The first one
but
they
that-
meet
that
is
also
usually who they end up with.
Yeah, that's also in body type. It's usually the most average of all of them, of all the cast.
Here is
The well-balanced one.
here's Francis Ford Coppola again. This guy needs to grow some balls and watch Black Lagoon. He could learn from Rock. Oh yeah, they both have never been in a fight, but Rock had good qualities. That's true. Enough for a woman like Revi or Edda to like him. Yeah, okay. It took
I would suggest he eats more uncooked hard foods like carrots to build some jaw strength so that his overbite can correct itself, because when the chin
I don't
looks
know.
like that,
Something tells me that this guy, this effeminate fellow, I think he's on his way to make some jaw strength. You know what I mean? I don't think he'll have much trouble.
but that's not how you gain jaw strength. Yeah, but no, really. Eat some hard stuff that is hard to chew, and you naturally develop your lower jaw, and that corrects itself. And then you also look. That's not just your lower jaw. It also develops the cheekbones and everything, because everything has to be in balance, and your body knows what to do. And we have this overbite problem mainly because we, in the civilized world, cook our stuff so much that our jaws have nothing to do anymore. That's why all the kids need braces.
Oh, really?
Because that's what the braces are, adding the pressure onto the jaw that the jaw needs to trigger the growth process.
Well, just go get some cured meats from any delicatessen. It's no problem.
Yeah, but really, just if you have little children and they're just and the teeth are coming out and all of that, give them some hard vegetables, some carrots to nom on. It's the best thing for them to develop that, and then they won't need braces.
I would say pork and salami and all kinds of good veal products. Beef is good too.
Yeah, but we don't. I don't know how you eat
pork.
salami, but we just we slice it into very thin slices.
Men's food.
I eat it with my mouth.
You just nom the whole sausage.
Depending on the size, yeah.
Okay. Then that probably works, but I don't know if I would want to give a child this 2-inch big salami thing to nom on. That's weird.
Well, maybe I had some different upbringing for eating prosciuttos and hams.
Yeah, but the easy thing is just if you get your kids to if you don't pump them full of this whole sugary nonsense.
I'm eating a Salisbury steak right now.
The whole sugary candy nonsense, then the vegetables will actually taste sweet to them.
Oh yeah, that's fine. That is true. Kids have very sensitive palates for sugar, so.
Yeah, so don't give them sugar, then they will like the vegetables.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And then the lower jaw develops better, and that naturally looks better. I can draw you out some pictures of before and after stuff, and I've seen it a lot around here. It's weirdly I've seen it more in the north of Germany than anywhere else. That the lower jaw is underdeveloped. It's very weird. It looks all these if you've seen Bob's Burgers, there's this other horrible cartoon. I just find the art style absolutely abhorrent. I can't watch that. If it's any good, I don't know.
The writing's fine. It's a pretty decent show.
The characters have no lower jaw.
I like the writing and I like the main character's voice.
Okay.
It's very relaxing.
No lower jaw, no chin.
It's probably okay, but but
they do look like that.
It's like someone was obsessed with one particular Muppet and made a cartoon out of it where every character looks like that particular Muppet.
That's actually the most accurate thing someone has said about that show.
Thank you, and I didn't even watch it. And not Beaker, but probably something. They're
like half Squidward or something.
Kinda.
Just eat some.
But the show itself,
it's good for you.
Sorry, go ahead.
Eat some hard stuff. It's good for you.
But yeah, the show itself is pretty good.
And the girls will like you more too.
Okay.
Eat some meat, work out, do it.
Get after in your room.
That's the plan. Eat meat, work out. Done.
Yes.
Winners don't do drugs.
Eat hard meat, okay? Hard.
Here's Francis Ford Coppola. Wisp get real. If we give this guy a carrot, I think we all know where he'll put it. Oh.
No. Even though I made some observations, I don't want to go that far. Dude, really, do something about your lower jaw.
Just call the guy a faggot. We're having fun.
And then if you
call the guy a faggot. We're just fucking around.
Look, let me just finish this, dude. If you do something about your lower jaw, the jaw strength, and this whole, your face will change in its entirety. Subtle but entirely. And then you put a smile on that, and then you will not look like a wimpy elf, but like a fantasy elf. And then the girls will really like you.
Yes.
The next video he makes, I have a carrot problem.
All right, let's try and get back on whatever.
Let's continue.
Yeah, let's just press play.
Alternatively, eat raw onions if you're into that stuff.
So that stands out in my memory is when the main character, Tomoki Sakurai, wishes that his childhood friend, Sohara Mitsuki, would wear more adult underwear or something, and it causes her pair to fly away. The rest of the episode is Tomoki trying to catch a glimpse of what's under her skirt, which is very classy. The episode also has underwear
You look
just
uncomfortable.
flying around the sky like birds. The issue with this episode is multiple shots where we see Sohara's underwear from under her skirt. From what I remember, and that wanting to see underage schoolgirls without underwear is pretty fucking creepy and morally repugnant.
It's an anime. It's an anime.
Teenage boy wanting to look on the girl's skirt is pretty like realistic to me.
That's
what
he's
they want to
comparing
do.
this to like middle-aged men going out and raping children. That's what he's making this sound like.
Yeah, dude, these are high schoolers. That is
just have a goof. You can't just have a goofy, perverted teenage kid anymore. Like they gotta make it weird.
Dude, and on top of that, we today in the first world we have the luxury to not need to have early pregnancy. We can not just we don't just have contraceptives. We also don't have the need to have early pregnancies in order to get as many kids as possible because they all just keep dying.
You know what else we got?
Like 200 years ago. And that's why 15 to 18-year-olds can play around and figure the sexual stuff out in safety instead of just running right into having a family and having to raise their own toddlers.
We've also got chicken.
Also, someone in chat pointed it out. He's going like his entire argument here is going off of memory.
Yeah, if you
that's a bad thing.
If you guys remember the show, I don't know if you guys have watched it, but they spent a lot of time with each of the characters. So the childhood friend, like she loves him, but she's always beating him up whenever.
Yeah, she's at tsundere.
Yeah. She's constantly chopping him over the head because
tsunderes are hot.
Because he's always being a pervert, but that's just what she's come to accept that. So it's not like this big problem.
Childhood friend tsundere is a very common thing, and I think it was mainly defined by Love Ina.
Yeah, and she's like 16 or so. I wouldn't say she's that underdeveloped.
16 is the normal age to have sex.
In fact, in that Parcheesi anime I was talking about, whatever the fuck it is, they have a childhood friend tsundere, so it's funny timing.
Yeah, 16 is a perfect age to have sex, and most women don't even mentally age past that. So what the fuck's the problem?
Work out.
Also, she always wakes him up every morning, so it's not like
moral of the story.
Moral
of the story.
Oh god,
have sex, work out, eat meat.
And look, by the way, I don't know if you got the memo, but girls are just as obsessed about sex and these little pervy things as the guys are depicted in the animes you've watched. But you wouldn't know that, of course, because you don't listen to their stories and you don't run around in their circles and have access to their stories and how they simp over the guy at the karaoke bar while they are in a stable relationship, or at least pretend to be. And furthermore, you look very uncomfortable as you talk about these things, so I am definitely sure you haven't made your peace with whatever sexual thing is going on with you.
Well, that
may just be normal sexuality.
He could also be purposefully acting squeamish about it.
I don't think so.
Because he's trying to reprimand it.
No,
he's just scared to admit that he finds the characters hot.
Yeah. I think this at best, this may be the white knighting thing.
He might want to tap that.
Yeah,
ass.
Exactly.
Yeah, maybe it's the white knighting thingy. Look, I'm a good feminist. Please give me attention. Please let me at your pussy.
After he finished recording this video, he went to sleep with his waifu pillow.
I don't know.
Oh boy!
But I wanted to say something else, and I trailed off too much. Sorry.
Anyway, let's keep going.
And Tomoki's desire to see this is played off as a joke.
Yeah.
There is, however, a far bigger problem.
It's goofy.
All right. Yeah, that's healthy.
Particular character in the series, there is a character.
I'm sorry, I'm getting these pauses even on the other browser.
Yeah, it just paused for me as well.
Yeah. Dude, if you can laugh about such, it's healthy, especially at that age. You're not and laugh about it in a positive way and not about it. Oh, he said wiener, ha 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 ha. No, that is infantile. But when you can laugh about your friend doing something stupid and not being personally struck by something that shouldn't really hurt you in the first place.
These people have no sense of they don't human very well, you know. They have no sense of humor.
Yeah, but I think that's partially because they're taught to be like that.
I think it's because
That's why the NPC meme is
He needs to eat more meat. He needs to work out.
But it's a moral culture similar to that which was present in let's say a Catholic boarding school 100 years ago. It's a very, very, very similar vibe. And God, I just had it again. Damn, I need my caffeine. I don't have it.
Anyway, let's get through some donations here. Here's Fran Mataraki, thank you. Speaking of women's being pervs, apparently bitches love redo of healer. I don't know what the general consensus is based off sex, but
yeah, that's true. The author has recently said that more women actually like redo of healer than men.
Really?
Which triggered all of Twitter. All of Twitter was like, that can't be true.
That is hard to believe.
And even the ones that complain that it can't be true. Women, the female sexual, the female sex fantasy often is some sort of rape fantasy. That doesn't mean they want to be raped. That just means the scenario is there because it's a scenario of being dominated by a very virile man. That's what it's about, and it's just manifests itself.
It's actually very natural. It's actually very natural to have that fantasy, but then when it actually happens,
and that reason is there because the man you want to have in your caveman society is the one who can actually protect you.
I just read the next donation. This man would probably conflate Bible Black and Black Lagoon as the same genre of anime.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Black
at
Bible.
This point,
Bible Lagoon.
Bible Lagoon.
Oh god. Oh god. Dude, sexuality is a normal thing, especially at that age. If at that age you have problems with sexuality, maybe at your age right now, whatever that is, maybe consider therapy. I'm serious.
All right, let's go.
I'm serious. There's something stuck in the
nothing
system that's not
nothing
good.
That some meat in a gym membership won't fix.
And I'm not saying that to be denigrating or anything. I'm saying that because you don't want this to be stuck in you in at 35 still.
Like the carrot.
Oh.
Can we stop at the carrot?
Is a character named Nymph. Nymph is a character that looks like a child and wears a revealing outfit, just like
she's an angel.
And the other characters.
She's not a human.
Synapse, the world where they come from. It's complicated. I don't feel like going into it. I don't remember a lot of the lore due to not having seen the show since I was in like middle school.
Why do you then choose it
why are you
as
talking
an
about
example?
it then?
Oh wait. You complain about sexual depictions in a high school anime that is aimed at high school kids while you were in middle school. Why did you watch something above your age range? Did you watch other R-rated stuff?
Because he wants to tap that
Maybe?
ass.
Exposed.
Yeah. I think you're just you're guilt-ridden because you watched sexual stuff.
Didn't he say like at the start of this segment that he started watching these things because he learned what masturbation is?
I'm almost
wasn't that what he said at the start?
I'm almost interested for purely technical reasons. How you learn? How did you learn masturbation? It sounds like someone taught you, and that's just creepy. I don't know. It's maybe it's just a bad choice of words.
I wonder if the person that taught him was a high schooler. Oh.
No, it's just
it all comes together.
It's probably just bad choice of words.
It all comes full circle.
No. I think he's just repressed in some way, and this is
Maybe
a weird way of
maybe
trying
it
to
was
cope with it.
maybe it was a big titty schoolgirl that taught him, and now he has repressed feelings.
I mean, this is so unhedonic.
So, if you guys don't
Like,
know the character Nymph, I just want to bring this up because she's seen as a young girl, but she's like billions of years old.
Yeah, she's like one of the
typical thing.
angels. She's just a lowly.
Yeah.
I mean, I could understand if you brought up the movie to No Game No Life. That has a bit of a weird relationship in it. Absolutely amazing animation, by the way. Interesting story too, because it's the world set up for this very wacko
Isn't
anime.
that gambling anime?
Yes.
No,
it's something. I
No,
think you
No
mean
Game No
something else.
Life is one of the really good isekais, one of the old ones.
Yeah.
That never got a second season.
Yeah. I hope it does at some point. Because it was the animation itself was so high quality. It's just
Devil is
brilliant.
a part-timer got a second season
that
after
was the
like
two.
7
That was
years,
the guy and the
so-
girl that had no usernames, right?
No Game No Life
It's
is
just an.
No
Game,
Game
No
No
Life
Life
is
the
two
brother
siblings.
and the sister.
Right.
And
Yeah.
they get isekai and they were like the best gamers and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
No, yeah, I saw the pilot of that. I didn't get back into it yet, but I'd like to.
Okay, yeah.
It's really
It's a
good.
relatively short one. I think it's
I'll
just
watch
a
it
12
just to
episode
spite
one.
this guy.
Just watch it. It's fun. Just the chess arc could be one episode shorter, I'd say. Other than that, it
There's
has
a
a
chess
movie.
arc?
It has a movie that is that you should watch afterwards because it tells the history of the world long
Yeah,
before.
it's a prequel.
And
movie.
yeah, it's a prequel, but it's better to watch it after the show. And
Because spoilers.
it's absolutely stunning quality, but the relationship between the main character there and the love interest in that one, that would be a good example to bring up because that is a bit eerie. Because
So
the relationship there is that the characters in the past, I'm sorry if I spoiler here, are a reflection, an echo, if you will, or the rhyme of the brother and sister in the main story, in the series.
it's an anime. Let him fuck. It's an
Well,
anime.
the sister actually looks like a loli.
It's an anime.
But in the
Doesn't
movie,
make
they
that doesn't
solved-
excuse it.
Yeah, but in the movie they also solved it in a way that there is no sexuality between them. It's also just endearing love between the two, and the girl is an android. She doesn't have sexual parts. So for that, it is really just the focus of this is like familial love between two characters. But I would understand if he had brought that anime up as an example for the point he wants to make, because that is actually bordering on being a bit uncomfortable for some people.
Who gives a shit? Bunch of babies.
No, but I'm trying.
Bunch of
I'm trying.
babies.
Look, I'm trying to steelman him here. Okay.
Just teasing you, man. Don't worry about it.
I think that the Kodomo Chicken was a good example, but it's like such an outlier that it becomes a bad example because nothing is like Kodomo no Chicken. So, and the other one was a hentai that's literally banned in several countries. So.
Yeah. Here's Fran Araki. Oh, and don't get me started on when 50 Shades came out in theaters. Plenty of moist cucumbers left on the floors. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Good to know.
And
Yeah, there was
and,
actually some weird shit happening with that.
Oh yeah. And that's sold like mad because it's a rape fetish.
Bunch
story.
of girls that normally don't get out that are obsessed with that book, going fucking squirting at theaters. It was a really weird thing.
That
It was a
really
weird
happened.
thing. I would not. Oh yeah. I would not
God.
want to work in one of those theaters. Yeah.
Oh god. But they tried to cancel some American actor because he jerks off in a porn theater that is intended to be for that purpose. Wasn't that
Did
this
that
this
happen?
They'll
Kiwi guy
cancel
or
a guy that
something?
jerks off in his own bathroom. These people don't care. They'll
It's
cancel
so
a guy for
insane.
taking a shit.
Oh, and by the
These
way,
people are insane.
From what I knew of the BDSM scene here in town, they were very upset about 50 Shades of Grey because it depicts BDSM completely wrong and it essentially gives amateurs and your general average idiot a dangerous impression of what that's about and how that works.
Okay, all right. I wouldn't go that far.
it's
Here's the
just-
thing. Okay, I kind of I actually kind of LiteratureDevil probably doesn't even remember saying this because he said it a couple of years
Okay.
ago, but it really stuck with me. He said that when you're writing a story, you're not responsible for how people react to it. And I agree with
that's
him.
not the thing. That's not the thing about 50 Shades of Grey. 50 Shades of Grey is written as a fan fiction that is
Yeah.
all about the fetish.
Yeah.
But
But how does having the fetish in there, how is that dangerous? Unless you disagree with me, which is fine. But you just made the claim that you don't disagree with me.
in this
so
case,
now-
I don't think the movie is
How would I put it into
responsible for
words?
people like replicating.
I'm not talking
what
about the
happens in
movie.
the movie.
I'm not talking about the movie.
you're talking about the book.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think the book.
I
is
think in
responsible
this
either.
instance, if you write such a thing, you it would help if there was a disclaimer of how BDSM in real life works, because that has rules and safe words and all of that stuff to ensure a safe environment, and because that's all based on consent.
So are you
But the book-
concerned? Are you
but the-
concerned that? Well, I have a question.
Yeah.
It's kind of like two questions. So are you concerned that people are going to replicate the story, or are you concerned that people are going to incorrectly use that story to attack BDSM communities?
No, not to attack it, but to reenact what they saw in the book with their partners, but without knowing the rules of how to make that safe.
Yeah, but
And
I
that's
don't
the-
think
that's
the
the
book
common
is
thing that
I think that's a
responsible
valid.
for that.
I think that's a valid concern.
I think it's valid, but I don't think it's like the book's responsibility to tell you.
I agree
not
that
to
I agree
replicate
that
what
it's not.
happens
I
in the
agree
book.
that yeah, I agree with that as well. I agree that that's a valid concern, but I
Yeah.
also don't think that the writer is responsible for that.
Okay, here is
yeah.
Francis Board Coppola again with a donation. This infections logic is infuriating. You're creepy if you watch this show with underage people. Maybe. I don't remember the show. It reminds me of when EFAP covered Jared Genesis and he couldn't review the Star Wars films he didn't watch. I need pills.
Oh no, this guy is much better
He
than
said
Jared.
Ray killed Darth Vader. I remember that.
What?
Oh no, he said Ray killed Han Solo. He said Ray killed Han Solo.
That would have been funnier.
I mean, if you really want to go back, Harrison Ford killed Han Solo. If you really want to go back.
All right, here is Cyrek again. Thank you, sir. I mean, there's an anime for everything. I agree. There's an anime called Midori Days where the MC's right hand turns into a girl that had a crush
That's
on him.
amazing. That's amazing.
I've heard of that, but I think at the time I had too bad internet to bother really watching it. I just
That
What
sounds
the
so
fuck
weird.
is
Does she like stay attached to his wrist, or does
no,
she
he's
detach?
no, she's his hand.
She's
Her,
just
her
his
upper
hand.
body is not like she's like a mermaid, but the upper body is just his hand. Instead of a hand, he has her upper body.
That's hilarious.
Who the fuck came up with that?
The Japanese.
The Japanese at least have creative fetishes.
So would you call her a handmaid?
Bruh.
I
The
bet-
Japanese
I bet-
have
I-
like a fever
bet-
dream. They have a
I
fever
would
dream,
bet-
and then they're like, I can turn this into an anime.
Dude, I would bet that all of these jokes, all of these puns, because Japanese love puns, They're all in that manga, if not, if at least as some Chikoma at the end.
I love how Japan is they just are manga gate. And anime gate. They just are that. The whole country just is that. Where like you don't have to be a part of some kind of sub community, or maybe you do. I don't know. But it seems like any independent writer could just make anything over there.
Yeah, you can make the options and sell them.
That's fantastic.
All right, let's keep going.
From the show revolve around her lack of boobs, which is definitely haha funny and not at all a weird thing to do with a character.
Okay, that's a normal everyday joke in anime. Girls are sensitive about their femininity. That's totally normal.
That's realistic, by the way.
It's literally a joke. It's literally a joke every time.
Well, it's
like,
a parody of real life. It's a parody of real life female behavior.
It's the boob envy thing that Wisp always talks about.
Especially when there's so many other attractive women that have very developed figures. And here's
Boob
this
envy is absolutely real. But sadly it's not as fun in reality as it is in anime.
And regardless of that, the main character still likes her and she still likes him because they have a thing going.
Exactly.
Dude, you need to talk more with girls. You need to hang out more with girls, and if you have one that is a little more comfortable with herself and a little more mature, she may even tell you some of these things. And tell you how, maybe even, if you get a tomboy especially, she will tell you how pissed she is at how horrible women are to each other, how jealous they are all the time, and how immature they are all the time. And how all they think about all the time is sex.
He's
which is
gonna say
something
he
that
has
is alleged about men all the time.
misogyny.
Speaking of sex, if you play your cards right, you might even tap that ass. Who knows?
Then you don't need the tsunami anymore.
Maybe not looking like this.
Yeah, I tell you, eat some carrots.
Well, that's not gonna. I mean, come on, Wisp. That's.
What can that jaw do?
You're the one charging that up with innuendo. I mean,
you can't just walk up to a necromorph in Dead Space and just hand it a carrot and then it's just a masculine man.
I mean, what other vegetable is there that you can chew? I suggest garlic,
broccoli. I don't know. What the hell
I actually really like broccoli and spinach and asparagus, especially in soup.
What?
I recently had, you know what I had recently? Well, the reason I got into it was because of wonton soup. There's a cafe by my house at the casino, and they put when they make my wonton soup, they'll throw asparagus in there, and I was like, oh wow, I like this.
Okay, there's cream of asparagus soup.
I like the greens.
I've never seen an actual asparagus soup myself, though.
Well, it wasn't an asparagus soup. It was just a wonton soup with asparagus thrown in, and I just really liked it.
Oh. Okay. Asparagus.
But I recently, you know what I had that was really fucking good? What is it? Sparrow? Is that the name of the pizza place? There's one at my mall. My dad and I were there, and we were just walking around, and I wanted to get food, and they had a stromboli. It was a spinach stromboli.
Oh yeah.
It was amazing. I loved it so much.
Yeah, smart.
And it wasn't even. It was only like 470 calories, so it wasn't that much.
Really?
Yeah, I'm serious. It wasn't a lot.
That's because asparagus draws more nutrition out of you than it gives you. It takes more energy to
I think that's
metabolize.
celery. Asparagus does that too. I thought that was just celery.
Yeah, it does that too. You can starve yourself on asparagus. Smart. If you like asparagus, look up European, especially German recipes for asparagus meals. Germans, for some reason that eludes me, are so crazy about asparagus that we hire Polish and Romanian black labor to do the harvest for us, and then pay insane prices on the market for it. And I will never understand that because I do not have the taste receptors or something to taste anything out of asparagus except that it tastes like water. So I never got this whole asparagus fever. I don't have the receptor to taste this stuff.
Well, asparagus,
and I have the bitter receptor for Brussels sprouts, I think it's called in English, and that's a you need a gene to grow the receptor for that. And if you have that receptor and someone's cooking Brussels sprouts in a radius of 100 meters, then I'll throw up. I just throw up. It's just so horrible. But I don't taste asparagus on the other hand. It's very annoying.
All right. Well, I'm not going to jump into food talk because that'll take a while. So we're going to have to get back to the video, guys.
You already mentioned your steak thing today, I think.
No, I didn't.
No, that was me.
I talked about cured meat. That's a very specific kind of meat.
Yeah, he was just talking about meat. I was the one talking about Salisbury.
Anyway.
Who looks way younger than the rest of the already underage cast.
They're not underage. They're millions of years old.
She's literally an angel.
See, he's just taking this stuff at face value.
Not human.
He himself said he didn't watch it.
Human.
I mean, what
no,
more
he
do we
did
need?
watch it, but he said he
did?
didn't watch it like recently. He said in middle school or something, right?
Okay, what age and boob size are we talking about?
This girl? Well, again,
she's a loli, but she's like millions of years old.
Yeah, she's an angel.
All of them are.
Is she a loli or a loli cow?
No.
Oh,
the fuck is a loli cow?
A loli cow is a loli with giant knockers.
That sounds awesome.
I know.
I didn't know there was a word for it.
Yeah, of course there's a word for it, and people
That's
who love
amazing.
loli,
they usually call it opai loli.
Dude, yeah, the opai loli. That's the
opai loli. Get the fuck out of here.
It sounds like a candy.
That's literally what the
opai loli does sound like a candy.
It's either opai loli or loli cow. And
lolly cow is funny.
Maybe it's a pun on lolicon for some reason, because the people who are really into lolly, where it drifts into the pedophiles who jerk off to that stuff, which I very much prefer over them jerking off to real. Is that they really hate the lolly cows, because that's a developed body. That's a developed body that
developed bodies
they do not
hot.
like that. Yeah, normal people like developed bodies, but the pedos do not like the lolly cows because that is not an underdeveloped body anymore to them. That is the relevant part about what. Where he has this problem with, oh, these are underage characters, and that's bad because pedophilia. This dude doesn't even know what pedophiles are attracted to. He just thinks it's about the age itself. No, pedophiles are attracted to a certain development stage of the human body.
Here's what I'm curious about, guys. What exactly what his concern is? What's the purpose of this video?
So
is he trying to spread awareness? Well, let me finish. Let me just articulate. Is he trying to spread awareness because he thinks that the presence of a lolly or a loli cow or whatever the fuck it is, the presence of that encourages people to go out and have sex with children? Is that his concern? Like, operationally, what is the purpose of this video? That's my question.
I think it's just virtue signaling.
Basic.
Because he hasn't made clear definitions. He hasn't. We are 7 minutes in of a over 30 minutes video, so a bit under a third, let's say.
Yeah,
and he isn't really clear.
There's no.
He's just.
We have to expect to understand what he means.
There's no defense of like, oh, what would children think? How are we going to age restrict this? How are we going to protect? Like, he's not talking about this is bad because of X. He's just saying, oh, this is a young girl and she doesn't have big boobs, but the jokes are about her boobs. It's like,
yeah, he's just pointing at stuff and saying.
Yeah, he's not operationalizing anything. Exactly, like he's
just
not
saying
operationalizing
anything,
anything.
not saying why. Yeah.
I'm sorry. Can you explain that word to me?
Operationalize?
Yes.
So when you operationalize something, you give a practical explanation for why something is the way it is. In this case, he would be explaining why the presence of a loli is a problem in an anime.
Okay.
Like, what would he want? Would he want that girl to be another big-breasted character? Like they already have like 4 or 5 of them in the story, and the enemies.
I mean, his argument is already wrong because he said she's younger than the main character, which is not true. She's older than him.
Yeah, but he sees he goes for the
He just looks at
visual
the body and says
the
that's
visual
a
maturity.
These are literal alien robot angels, okay? I don't know how we humanize them properly, aside from them looking like us, but one of them is called the Queen of the Netherworld. I can't remember what she's like. She destroys planets or something. I can't remember how powerful she is, but it's just like ridiculous. And
I don't remember all the names or something, but she was like the one they had to fight, I think.
yeah, and she's so
Like
powerful.
The black-haired girl.
Yeah, the only thing that can calm her down is this boy who she found when she was, I don't know, 10 years younger or whatever, and he's the guy who woke her up or made her feel something. So now she's all diminutive and friendly and quiet. It's like, yeah, okay, there's a story about relationships here. It's not about their bodies. Yes, they do look attractive. That's the kind of the point, because he's into these things, but he always has a line he doesn't cross, which you see a lot in Japanese manga and anime where they are, yes, of course I love women, but it's like, I'll never ever do that or never go past second base or wherever the case might be. So that's assumed as well, but it's not anything special. The show itself is pretty basic. It's not over the top. It's not overly romantic. I think the action and the explosions and the violence, because it's always like beat up the pervert, right? Slam him into the ground, knock him into the sky. That is a common trope as well. So it's kind of like, yeah, it's nothing new.
Yeah.
There's nothing special about this anime, really.
There was like this underlying plot line with the MC like being connected to all the angels, like
Yes.
some memories he lost or something. But the anime never finished, so the manga ended from what I know, but I never read. Probably gonna have to, because I want to know how that ends.
All right. Here's Bach reads, as opposed to Zach reads. I don't know, maybe Bach. If this guy gets a nice fade haircut, I don't know what a fade haircut is, hard part in his hair, throw some pomade on that mop, grow some scruff on that soy boy 12-year-old face, hits the gym, and works that jaw on some nice, hard, crispy, throbbing carrots, he'll look normal.
I'd say either cut it shorter or let it grow out completely. But
eat that meat, smack that ass.
this half short stuff that just looks like some gay medieval prince.
Yeah, it's kind of like that Gillian Anderson look, but it's like, why are you going for that, dude? Like, don't look like that.
Oh god, he looks like the bad guy from Braveheart.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's
He
this
looks like
weird,
the bad guy from
medieval
Braveheart, I
half
just realized.
short thingy. This is like Richard Lionheart or Prince Eisenherz or something like that. It's just, or I think or was it He-Man? He had that haircut too.
Yeah, but he's He-Man.
He's not He-Man.
Not this guy, no.
He's He-Elf.
No, I'm saying you can't give He-Man.
He's
He-Man.
Soy-Man.
I mean, look at him. He-Man will fuck you up. Like
He's
He-Man will
He-Man
fuck
gets
you
a
up. But
pass. He's the only one that gets a pass for that haircut.
Yeah. Okay,
Only He-Man can have it.
He-Man gets a pass, but He-Elf doesn't.
When you can throw a mountain, yeah, I think lots of things are permissible.
Yeah. He's also got a pretty
He-Man
good
can
singing
throw
voice.
mountains, and this guy can throw pedophilia accusation.
It's Sorno Toshimoto. I was like, I can't believe, dude, come on, give me a break. It's a story about this redheaded angel chick who's gaga for this other guy. No one would say she's underage. There's only one character he focuses on, which is the loli, who's older than most everyone else in the story.
Haha.
Yeah, but
I love when the loli is secretly like a 3,000-year-old dragon or something, so you can be like, ha ha. Doesn't count.
It just shows this body.
This is the exact trope.
Funny.
This is the exact trope.
Ha
And he's not even aware of it. This is why it's sad. It's like, dude, did you even pay attention? Did you even go to the wiki for like 2 seconds and search her age? Like, nope.
Yeah, it's the lolly granny. It's the trope.
The lolly
Like,
granny.
Yeah, that's actually what's called.
That's the name of the trope.
Wow.
Yes, it's the lolly
lolly
that's like thousands
granny.
of years old.
Okay, let's keep going.
For those not able to tell, I am being sarcastic. This is fucking gross. Why the fuck would you do this?
Oh, you can
To clarify,
smile.
because
That's
I know
awesome.
I don't know. You
dumbasses
tell
are
us.
going to say
'Cause it's
dumb shit
awesome.
in the
Yeah, you need to
comments.
work on your
Having
sarcasm.
small boobs is not the issue. You can have.
If okay, wait a second. Slow down here. Wait a second. If she had big boobs, like all the other characters, like almost every girl in that story is well developed, like really well developed. If she was still like a loli, as Whisks said, the loli cow, what's the problem then?
I don't know.
If she
It's
looks like
Westerners
an adult.
Westerners seem to define an anime character's age by breast size.
I guess.
Which
What
is
is-
really-
They just
which-
look
which
at
I find
just
really
look at the
funny in a
body
way.
and assume how old the character is.
That's the
know, when I
beautiful
was
thing
in-
of manga and anime. You don't know.
You know, when I was in 5th grade, what is that? 11, 10, between 10 and 12. We had to. We got the kids from the villages into the city schools, because the villages only went up to 4th grade, and there were 2 early bloomers there. Holy shit! And they and not because they had to repeat years. Because one girl had at least C cups. That was in 5th grade. It is rare, but it happens. And it's I think it's usually there is some developmental thing behind that, where the growth spurt comes too early or too heavily. Also some really ugly things that can happen that are very painful. But in that case,
It's
it
more,
wasn't
it's
that.
more
And
common in females than in males because females tend to reach their growth spurt earlier.
Oh yeah, the female puberty starts at around 9 years old, and male puberty starts a few years later. I think by
Yeah.
11 or something. And yeah, that is why this fallacy is around that. Oh, girls mature faster than boys. That is not really true. They just start earlier, but mentally they don't finish, because the boys get all the pressure that makes them actually grow up. At least that was the case before all this Oedipal
It's somewhat
culture
ironic
took over.
because yeah, and
But
females
girls
in
never
society
had
are
to.
encouraged to reserve themselves, which is it's kind of funny when you think about it.
Yeah. And yeah, but sometimes you have this. You really have this happen. You're in 5th grade.
Hmm.
None of the boys have had any libido grow yet, and they make fun of. And this is what I found really funny in hindsight. Because so I'll leave that part out. Need to focus. So the joke of that story was 5th grade. There's a girl with C cups, if not D's. The other one was I think there was a B to C, something between that. So really, really early bloomers. And the boys, because they're
were making fun of them,
before
right?
their puberty yet, they didn't have their puberty yet. They didn't have the reactions that they would have they been a few years older. Made fun of her because of her big tits.
Yeah. No, yeah, that's actually very common. When a girl
And
hits her growth
so-
spurt in
and then-
in like elementary or middle school, the guys will make fun of them. But then if it's high school, the guys will be like, "Hey, yeah."
Yeah.
That's
But do you
kind of
know
a
what
funny
happened?
thing.
But do you
I
know what
like
happened
those
2 years
Milkies.
later when the guys suddenly realized, oh, boobs are really cool? Well, she remembered
the-
how they bullied her.
And was there one guy that was a nice guy, and then she let him tap that ass? Is that what happened?
I don't know about that.
That's usually how it goes. That's usually how it goes. There's one guy that wasn't a dick, and he gets to tap that ass.
Milady, that's some cool boobs you got there.
It was kind of the joke of life. So it's just,
Like that episode of South Park where Stan's
It's a
girlfriend
manga.
is jealous and she comes in with these giant fake tits and everyone's like, "What the fuck is that?"
Oh yeah. Well, that itself is it would be a standard manga anime story, and it's one that happens in real life, as you said, fairly common.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Let's keep going.
An adult character with small boobs. I don't care. The issue is that she looks like a fucking middle schooler. She is significantly shorter than the rest
It's
of the
an
cast,
anime,
but
you
design matches up
pussy.
with a certain archetype for anime
Yeah,
characters.
a acquaintance. I didn't meet her very often. Came to the tea shop, early 20s, and was a young mother, single mother, and she was happy. She was really happy with that, and pretty face and everything. But my God, flat as a board, even with her chest full of milk, still flat as a board, while with her kid around. Another girl, she was a literature student that I knew a couple of years earlier. Very intelligent girl, pretty as the stars, but man, if she was any flatter, that a singularity would form. You would mistake her. If you didn't know her age, you would mistake her for a 14-year-old maybe. But she was 22. So you have all these weird developmental anomalies going on. Some have big knockers at 11, others have none at 22. So you can't really pass judgment on how old is this character according to boob size. It's a bit annoying. It makes a lot of fuzzy borders, but that's just reality. And maybe you should get out more and meet more girls, maybe travel around some, just sit down in a pub or in a restaurant or in a park and just watch them.
And study biology.
Yeah, or if you're in university, just sit down in your mensa, in your cafeteria, and just watch the other people, and really take into account how do they look, and not because you're ogling them, just this is how people look, and then you can start to reflect on yourself, and that, by the way, can help people who have problems, who look completely average or even good, but have self-esteem issues and find themselves ugly, and can figure out, but actually I'm actually quite average, or even a little bit above average. Why do I have self-esteem issues? That's complete bullshit. Or in your case, you could learn that there are a lot of different girls, and you could never guess their age in their 20s. Or in their teens even. With some it's more easy, but there are anomalies that are just completely mind-boggling. Sorry if they happen to turn up in manga and anime. They still take that over Captain Plank in American comics.
Yeah.
We'll be discussing the video. She is not designed to look like an adult or even a fucking high schooler. Her design resembles that of a much younger age group. If you want to make a short adult character with small boobs, go ahead, but at least make them look like a fucking adult.
Okay, this
Why?
is
She's not a human.
See, now you're telling people what they can and can't draw.
Yeah, he's the arbiter to define how adult people have to look. Do we have to euthanize these girls I talked about because they don't look adult enough?
But the point is, none of this even applies to her because she's not human. She can look whatever. She's an angel. She's not an age group. She's not a specific body type. She's an angel.
I think that angel is a queen,
super weapon.
and that she can look however she wants, you bigot.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, my queen.
You know how there's lots of doodlers? They always draw like pretty boys or this or that with like wings or I don't know. It's a common theme in sketch artists that are starting out. They just draw lots of mythical creatures. And if they're drawing people, they tend to put mythical elements to them or anthropomorphic elements. So it's a very common thing. So when I was reading, or not reading, but watching the show, it's like, okay, yeah, this is just some guy or some girl drawing pictures of really attractive girls who happen to be android robots or android angels. So it's like, okay, take two ideas, throw in some romance there, and I have some weird backstory. Like, I don't know, I can't remember, was the best friend an angel as well? I can't remember. It was something like that, the ending, where it's revealed she's like the creator of everything. And I didn't quite understand what was going on there.
I think like the MC was the creator or something. Like, I don't remember, but like he's connected to the entire thing, but he doesn't remember, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I think they were all like designed by him or something. I also don't remember.
It was a while since I watched it, but everything was connected, but everyone forgot what happened in the past. But
yeah, something like that.
But there's reasons why they're all related, so it's like, okay, fine. That's fair enough. I don't really care. It's always contrived at the end. But I'm not expecting some grand, complicated, intricate plot. It's just romance for the sake of intricacy with the theme of android angels. So
yeah, it's just a romantic
Well, that's because
comedy with some
Japan
action
isn't always
scenes.
trying to. I'll let you go first.
Yeah, it's just a romantic comedy with some action scenes and a bit of a little plot with some mystery. That's all. It's not that deep.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes that's where the charm is. Like over here in the West, we're always trying to deconstruct everything. Hold on a minute. You guys can continue.
all right.
Well, I mean, to add to that with the deconstruction, sometimes you just want like a show like this. You don't need to always be like super deep and meaningful. Sometimes you just want a show with angels fighting things and having big boobs.
And looking cool. And but the problem is that with the deconstructionism is that that's not naturally what the West did. That is an injection by this whole communist demoralization plot. So that nothing's left in the end. That's why they attack everything. Who was that? In the chat, Siege said, can we just ignore these people when it comes to the future of artistic medium, all artistic mediums? The problem is no, because if you ignore them, we get to the point where we are at now, because we ignored them for so long. And now they are trying to get into a manga and anime. Thankfully, the Japanese are still adamant against that. But they will keep on trying. And they will try it with the same tricks they used in the rest of the Western world. And they want control over everything to tell us how to do anything. This is one of their slogans, and it's a very sinister slogan. Is that the private is political? That was the first version that, as far as I know, by which they justify their activism about everything. This then grew to everything is political. The thing is that this is a lie. Not everything, the private is not political. However, you can politicize it. You can politicize everything. That would be true. But the only one who wants to politicize everything, including the private, which means what you do in your bedroom and what you like and what you think, because your thoughts are private. The one who politicizes the private is the one who wants to exert control over it. So when they keep on saying that the private is political and everything is political, that means that they want to control and have a say in everything.
Can you hear me right
And
now?
this is what they're doing also in the arts, because all the arts have to be about the big gospel of their faith.
This guy does have a womanly thing going on. Now I'm actually looking at him. I was away from my screen.
Yeah,
he's
it's a
got
bit
a-
of
he's got a
a.
womanly
I get
thing
a
going
I get a North German vibe from him, but not in a good way. It's just very weird, dude. You really you I don't know. Eat some carrots. And I hope you're just tired, and that is not Rouge. No, not Rouge. The other stuff.
Here, Here's
the eyeshadow.
Here's Vladimir Dragunov. Look up Cajun Night Before Christmas. What is that? Does anyone have any idea what Cajun Night Before Christmas is?
No.
Cajun before. Let me look.
I know why you get that vibe. It's because of how he's holding himself right now. The hair that frames his face, which makes it a bit rounder, and from how his shirt is falling right now, it looks like he stuffed it.
Looks like he's got tits.
Oh, it's a book. It's a book.
It looks like he's wearing lipstick.
Yeah, that's a bit dark. Yeah.
I have that same exact ceiling fan.
I still like how he's body shaming the angel that is also like a super weapon.
Body shaming.
Oh, she's the hacker, right?
Way.
She's the genius.
Yeah, she's like the technical one. That
Right.
can, like,
we are still talking about
the
Soda no
electronics.
Otoshi?
Yeah.
Okay.
The angels
guess.
are all super weapons. They can all like transform and have like these mass destruction weapons. And he's saying she doesn't look appropriate.
And the
even
character
though
he
she's
has
not
a
a human.
problem with is Nymph, yeah?
Yeah, she's a loli.
I'm just looking that up. She has pretty big tits for a loli.
Yeah, she's not even that small. She's
Yeah,
just
What's
flat.
the fucking character's
She doesn't
name?
look... I'm just...
Nymph.
Nymph.
Let me
I'm
post
just
a
looking up
picture to
pictures
find it.
and that doesn't strike me as a loli character. That's
What was
just
the name of the
a
show
young
again?
teen.
Heaven's Lost Property?
Sorta-
Is that what this
I'm
is?
gonna post a picture, you don't have to look it up.
Soda no
Um,
Otoshi.
Yeah, I don't know how to
Heaven's
fucking
Lost
spell that.
Property is the English.
Oh, it is Heaven's Lost Property. Alright.
All right, moving on.
All right, let's go.
She's so
Like the other
cute.
female characters in the series, she is put into
Cute.
blatantly erotic situations for the sake of humor.
Oh, he found a filter.
If by humor you mean trying to make your audience horny. So, despite the characters being minors or designed to look like minors,
Okay, so I don't know what the hell's wrong with this guy, but you can
She's
have
a cute pie. How could you not be okay with this?
you can have humor that's also sexually arousing or sexually insinuating or any other emotion. You can do
I
that.
think it says more about him that he finds her like her design horny.
Yeah, this guy's
even
definitely
though
gay.
She isn't even designed that way. She just has like all the same suit that all the angels have.
She's so
And-
cute.
and he says that's
Look at
horny.
her.
Yeah, except is
Yeah.
Yoka says she's cute. She's not sexy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. You know, there are kids at that age who 14, 15, most are not too far developed. They have usually A cups, sometimes B cups, like the ones I mentioned. Those are real exceptions. And yeah, they look closer to Nymph. They look closer to that character. And if that's a target audience, yeah, then maybe some guy will think, oh, this is she reminds me of the girl I'm into, or I project her onto this character as the fantasy adventure that I'm gonna have, or something. Or the girl thinks, oh, she looks closer to me, and I like her character, so I'll imagine myself being more like her or in her part of the story and fantasize about that. That would be a natural thing at that age to do. If everybody has to have big tits, that's not gonna be so easy.
You think he'd be complaining that it would be a loli with a large chest, but no, it's just a loli who looks like a loli, and that's bad. In a story where all these other characters have very well developed bodies. But
They literally have like 3 different body types for the 3 angels. There's like the first one he meets that's like the mid-sized chest. Then there's Nymph, which is the lolly. And then I forgot the name. Then there's the blonde-haired one that has the really big boobs. It's literally balanced.
But all these characters, as sexually suggestive as they might even be, I don't even think they are that suggestive. Aside from the enemies, they have developed backstories. They actually have entire episodes dedicated to their childhoods, or when they were alone, or they were finding meaning in their life. And because they're angels and androids, they don't have much happening in their lives for very long times. So
the third angel doesn't even like the MC at first, and he has like to form a relationship with her that she likes him. She hates him at first. I remember that plot point, like when she arrived, she hated the MC's guts. She wanted to kill him, I think.
I find it baffling every time I see these very, very left-wing people talk like the Christian conservatives of the 80s and 90s. You are becoming what the generation before you hated on the left. It's baffling. It's just baffling.
Okay, that's a cute gif.
Yeah, the fact that there's no middle ground whatsoever.
Yeah, and this is not this, and I bet you if you sit down, meditate some, look inside yourself, you will find that what you are saying here about these characters is not what you really think or feel. This is induced into you. This is actual socialization speaking here. This is some social pressure. You want to be part of the tribe. You want to be the guy with the right opinion, regardless of whether that is actually the right opinion. So you better not question it too much, because so you don't have to be subject to too much cognitive dissonance. So just don't question it, then you don't have to struggle with cognitive dissonance about what you really think. This is the kind of vibe I get from people who do this kind of content, because it never looks really honest. And as I said before, this strikes me as I said anhedonic before. That means he just, there's no joy in any of what he's saying and feeling. There was a moment finally where he did smile, but if he wants to be sarcastic, you need to have some emotion. You need to express some emotion.
He had to point out
doesn't
that
come
he was
across.
sarcastic.
Yeah, he said it, but you saying that was sarcasm doesn't make it sarcastic.
Work.
If you say if you want to get sarcasm across, there are some verbal inflections. There's tone that is relevant to that. There's sentence structure. That if you put that all together, people get that what you just said was meant sarcastically. If you are just talking as flat as you do all the time in this monotonous voice and going from sentence to sentence and from topic to topic, then have to say in the end, oh, by the way, that was sarcasm, then you're not a human, you're a robot.
Well, he said that when he was swearing and trying to attack the depiction of Nymph, and I was like, okay, dude, you were getting your jollies in a strange way. As if this is some amazing thing you've discovered, that this is the little girl looking anime girl. It's like, what? Yeah, we're not blind. It's fine.
Why does my weapon of mass destruction angel look like a little girl?
I think that's all it would take to destroy the world, because of how sensitive we are.
Just a lolly.
Yeah, all you gotta do is have a lolly walk by, and then the world would just nuke itself.
Twitter just implodes.
Mm-hmm.
The molten core of the planet would just overload.
Yeah, the melting pot of Earth is not nuclear warfare; it's lollies.
I can imagine the anime already, probably made by Madhouse or Gonzo. That is social justice warriors trying to invade from the West, and they are met by lowly mecha girls from Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Because that is the strongest weapon Japan can come up with to fight the SJWs. Although no, it's lolis, but they can only use those against the non-pedophilic SJWs, and they have to use the oppai girls against the pedophile SJWs.
Just hug them and they implode because they resume.
You just need like a magic deck of different types of lolies, and you could just destroy their career. That's all you need.
That's a new anime sales pitch right there. As a
You've
guy,
activated my trap card.
he summons different classes of lolis. Lolly Granny, go! Opie Lolly, go!
Alright.
The show puts them in situations where they are sexualized for the enjoyment.
Is there a film grain? Are you guys getting that too?
Yes.
Yeah. I said before he found the filter for some reason.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
I'm seeing it.
So far, there's no point to it.
Let's keep that in mind as I continue to discuss shows to see if there's some kind of crossover there. Anyway, let's move on to the other show.
What?
What is?
Dude, are you from the
And
90s?
The Stone Cat is a show about a pervert character who attracts a bunch of girls. What an
What did you
original
say? What
concept.
show?
Also,
There's some
also a
magic
jacket
shit or
this time.
something. I haven't watched the
Can
show
we
since,
rewind that? I want to hear
2013,
what
so I don't
show he
remember the
said.
complexity of the plot. To the funny, haha, booby anime. Sorry. The big thing about the show that I want to focus on is that the main character ends up in a lot of sexual situations with the two main female love interests who are first years in high school.
Wow! Look at every romantic comedy about high school students ever.
Yeah.
You haven't watched that much, have you?
Fucking dunce.
The target audience is high schoolers. They're horny as fuck. They like watching pretty girls, and they like to watch comedy. This brings both together. End of story.
Is he seriously like complaining about why
Are you-
there are high school characters in my high school show?
Are you a Jehovah's Witness or Mormon or something that you have this much of a problem with sexuality among teenagers? You know what would be unrealistic? Teenagers going all giddy about, oh, maybe holding hands and maybe a kiss, and that's all it is. And then thinking that babies come by the stork or something.
They held hands.
The stork.
Oh, that's so fucking lewd. Stop holding.
Yeah, I know, but like not that it's just a really romantic story where the hand holding really means a lot, but because that's a thing. No, but like if we enact whatever he believes in that he's not properly articulating so far, then teenagers would only ever be allowed to maybe look at each other and talk, but also not look at each other's bodies, even when fully clothed. This because that is what this leads to. And this is not a slippery slope thing. This is already the manifestation of things. And this was already the thing that in my childhood messed up a lot of kids, including me, because all this feminist bullshit taught me, for example, that so aside from, of course, not being mean to girls, also don't be nice to girls, don't look at girls, and don't initiate talking to girls, which essentially
Is somebody
only...
in a fucking snowstorm or what? What the hell is that?
Whoa, what's happening?
I don't know.
Did somebody just throw their microphone down the stairs?
I don't know. It wasn't me. I hope. Because I also heard it,
you.
so it probably wasn't.
Well, no, because you were speaking when it was happening with somebody else's mic.
Okay. Yeah, what I wanted to say is this stuff messes kids up because girls want to be looked at, as weird as that sounds. Because that's a self-esteem thing. If no one looks at the girl, she feels ugly. And a girl wants to be
That's
approached.
entirely normal.
That's part of the whole dating game and mating game that we humans do. The girl sends the non-verbal message of I am interested in you. Smile, for example. And can be a micro-expression. Some pick up on that subconsciously. Others have to learn seeing these things. But then the guy approaches the girl. He talks to the girl. And all the feminism did is destroy this dynamic completely. Mm-hmm. The dynamic is still there, but the guys now don't know how to interact with it because they've been told to not do any of this. And then society wonders why the guys all end up loners.
I don't know what
and why the girls
was.
and then the girls complain that no guy is ever approaching them anymore. This is
So I
why.
don't know where it was again,
it's-
but there was a school where if boys wrote girls Valentine's Day cards, they got suspended for harassment.
Wow.
I can imagine that.
Yeah, it's this kind of feminist bullshit that is irreparably, the way I see it, irreparably damaged the mating system in humanity.
That is damaging kids. It is damaging both sexes, and this is I don't know if trauma is the correct word here, but it definitely does some long-term damage to the kids that you need to get out again, because then you need to figure out how to get this out. Because I don't know, someone please correct me on that, but in a way, this is things naturally. Humans tend to figure these things out the right way, how to do them the right way, and then socialization comes in the way with teaching you some weird rules that go against all of that, either to pull it in the right direction so that it doesn't go overboard, or it completely messes it up and destroys everything because the correction goes completely overboard.
Well, I think
and sometimes
I know
that's
why
intentional. With feminism, it's
people,
intentional.
Well, it's because these people, they function based on theory, because they think that allowing things to take their natural course, they think that along the way, people get hurt from the natural course. So they want to control people to bypass the natural course, but that's not how.
But even in cases where you get hurt in the process, that's still the natural course.
Yeah.
I believe
because sometimes the process goes through, sometimes it doesn't. It's just life.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, it would have made my life much easier if
these people
all
don't
this
like
feminist
life. They hate
bullshit
life.
wouldn't have been around my life.
We know they hate life.
That's why they want people to have abortions.
We know they do.
They hate life.
We know they do. We know they do. They have too much time on their hands. Their messed up minds can't come to a conclusion that just utterly destroys human nature itself.
Yeah, I mean, there is overlap between the man hatred of feminism and this weird depopulation agenda of some of the other fanatics of the environmentalist.
They're like, just
fanatics.
kill people.
Yeah, and
that
there's
solves
overlap,
everything.
And this is then simply one group profiting of the side effects of what another group or movement is doing. Whether you find a great conspiracy behind that is irrelevant. The effect is there nonetheless. And people obsess about the potential conspiracies. They're relatively irrelevant. If you find people behind that, deal with them. Otherwise, deal with the immediate effects that are currently destroying your own family, your own children, your own grandchildren, and the friends of your children, and maybe the children of your friends. Because this stuff is currently ruining generations. It's not just.
I'll still never forget. There was this one time I was at college. This happened a few years ago. And there was this, I assume it was his mother. There was this kid, like a little boy. He was like 4 or 5, he was a very little kid. And he was with I assume was his mother. And they were just walking by, he was holding her hand, whatever, And I was just walking outside. I was walking somewhere. And I just saw these two walk by. And then the little kid tried to jump on his mother to give her a hug. And then she was like, no, that is oppressive and unacceptable. And then he sadly looked down, and then she walked away.
A child can't hug their parent because they feel like it?
Yeah, she said that is oppressive and unacceptable.
How?
No, that is child abuse. That is just plain child abuse. This kid will be forever scarred by that.
This
That's
kid
what
is
I'm
going to
saying.
grow up to
Emotionally
be
messed
a
up.
feminist.
Yeah, this kid will have real trouble forming relationships later on.
Yeah, he's going to grow up as a male feminist and become this guy.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. He may just end up resenting all of this stuff his mother did to him and taught him, because he notices he just feels shit about it all the time. And but then still, even though rejecting all of that, these scars will be there, and this is in his formative years for emotional development. 10 years later, he will have he will, even if he's against all of that stuff, he will have trouble connecting with other people and not knowing how what is okay to do and what not, because it's just these parts deep in his in his foundational emotional development are broken. And that is just it's heartbreaking. Yeah, Mike E, that is not just child neglect. That is active abuse. Neglect is passive abuse, if you will.
Like if you don't feed your kid,
what
that's
Yokai
neglect.
just described, that is active abuse.
But yeah, I think that was just a form of. I would say that was a form of abuse. I just wouldn't know. That would be difficult to categorize the abuse, but
but
abuse.
it's
emotional abuse.
It's ideologically
probably.
driven abuse. It's cult-like abuse.
Yeah. I would almost want to put it in a new category because of how common it probably is.
By now,
abuse.
That's a scary thing. And this is why and 10, 20 years ago, I would never have thought I'd ever say something like this. Because I've essentially told people to mess in the affairs of their friends and in regards to their kids and everything. I hate to say this. The problem is we're at a point where either you take a stand and defend yourself, defend your kids, and help your friends to defend their kids against this madness, because the ideologues, they will go for your kids. They will mess up your kids. They are the teachers and educators and whatever else in the institutions now. And they will go for your kids. And your inaction only leaves them defenseless against that. It has left them defenseless against that all these decades. And yeah.
It makes it difficult for children
if you are
to
lucky
develop
enough
a
to have
sense.
children now, it's more unlikely you will have grandchildren.
Thankfully, this is more of a university problem than a school problem.
Oh,
but it is still there, and it's
way
becoming
out of
more
the
common. It's becoming more common in schools. I know that, unfortunately. But here's the thing: is as it becomes more common in schools, I think it's dangerous because it gives children, even if the kid does have a parent that says you shouldn't listen to certain things the teacher says, how is the kid going to know when to listen to the teacher and when not to? Kids don't understand that complexity or that nuance yet. Like the kid's not going to know when is the teacher teaching me mathematics and when is the teacher teaching me something that's ideological. The kid doesn't understand that yet because they don't have those parts of their brain.
Yeah, of course,
yet.
that's the danger, and that's why when
you teach your kids not to listen to their teachers, they're going to become deviants.
Yeah, but that's also not what I was insinuating.
Oh no, I'm not. I actually wasn't saying that in response to you. I was just saying that in general.
Yeah, the thing is, when you have a class, maybe one kid will report something weird or show weird behavior after some ideological possession that happens in school, and a good parent will then react to that. Talk with the other parents, because the parents in one class usually know each other somewhat, and then raise that. And then you need to make that an issue, because if your school is indoctrinating the children into some weird stuff, that is simply a no-go, especially if it's political indoctrination. We've had that in Germany twice now, in really bad ways. And Gingerman, you're making really weird noises.
Yeah, his mic is very sensitive.
Okay.
I'm sorry about that.
That's all right.
We had that twice, and it is seeping out of the universities into everything else, because that was always the point. The universities make the teachers then go into the schools. Then we have all the kindergarten teachers, or whatever you call that in your country. In East Germany, kindergarten started at 3 years old. Before that, we had what would be similarly translated into the kinder crib, where kids go after they pop out of the mother, and then they are there until they go into the kindergarten. And that is also already quite neglectful and abusive places, and it limited any bonding the kids could have with their parents, which was the point of socialism, where you should be dependent on the state all the time and have your allegiances to the state and not to your family. The family structure was always in the way of socialism because it would then be independent of the state. It could act independent of it, and then the state could not trust the family. The family is supposed to trust the state, and that happens the best way when the family ties are weak. That is when children are most likely to rat out their parents for wrong thing, which is what regularly happened in East Germany, which is what happened sometimes even in Nazi Germany, which is what is happening right now.
That also happened with the Russians.
Yeah, and it's been in there have been for years. There have now been cases of kindergartens and preschools and elementary schools where teachers have pressured preteens, well, the essential age groups I just mentioned, that are way before puberty, that this kid is trans. This kid needs to transition.
There are teachers saying that?
Yes. There have been teachers pushing 6-year-olds into you are trans because you just drew yourself with a purple pen in a dress.
I thought it was
no, that's
left-wing
just a
parents
sweater and
doing
that was the pen that was lying
No.
around.
Well, so it's teachers too?
No.
It's in Ontario's school system. We had a husband or a father who was contempt of court for calling his daughter because she wants.
Yeah,
to
I
be,
heard about that.
Yeah, he wants to be called a boy. And that's the first example of word police that we had since that bill was passed years ago that Jordan Peterson was arguing about.
So yeah, he was called this is just a conspiracy thing. Nobody would ever do this, and here we are. This is a current case about exactly that. And
nobody.
If anything, that judge is in contempt of reality and in contempt of actual science, because no kid at that age can be diagnosed, should be diagnosed ever with gender dysphoria. This is a girl, period. End of story. If you're probably using the DSM in Canada, not the ICD. If not, please correct me. If you're using the ICD-10, which in regards to Chapter F, you should keep for the most part, at least in the sexuality issues. Because Chapter 11, ICD-11 is completely messed up in Chapter F due to socialist lobbying and control in the WHO. They are pushing the trans stuff out of Chapter F into the sexual health chapter, which is complete retardation because they want to destigmatize the trans stuff. Which just leads to it not being a medical issue then anymore, effectively, and then why would any health insurance need to cover that? The relevant part is the ICD-10 diagnosis for children that are in puberty and haven't finished puberty, aren't of age. You do not diagnose them with gender dysphoria or anything like that. If they are distressed about this, the distress, the pain is relevant. A child that's happy and all of that isn't trans in the first place. A child with gender dysphoria is in pain. You can see that. And you still only diagnose that child with F66.0. That would in English, I think, be sexual maturity crisis. That can be several issues. That can also be because of sexual orientation issues. Those can also be a bit random for a time. They can change during puberty a little bit because the brain is just going wacko. The hormones are going wacko. And by the end of puberty, most of these cases completely normalize. They have no gender dysphoria. They end up heterosexual. It's all
what
fine.
disturbs me about the DSM-5 is that the DSM-5 does not list gender dysphoria as a disorder. It actually says it's not a disorder.
And they're trying to do the same with the ICD.
They're doing that with the ICD as well?
Yeah, in the ICD-11, they want to write gender dysphoria out of the mental disorders chapter and into the sexual health chapter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, please continue.
Well, that was kind of the end of my point. Is I just think it's disturbing, and when you read, I'm actually looking at the gender dysphoria chapter right now, I'm looking at the description of it right now in the DSM-5, and it seems to be listing the only possible treatment as gender reconstruction surgery.
And that's also bullshit, because the genital part, that's just one. If you have real gender dysphoria, the genitals are just one tiny part of the whole issue, and the surgery is questionable in how well it works in the first place. We're still using mainly the
they
Stone
mentioned the
experience.
social and legal aspects and occupational aspects. They mentioned that. They talk about that. I'm not.
No. Those are irrelevant.
The problem,
Those are irrelevant.
No, yeah.
That's
Well,
bullshit
the
stuff.
problem is they're acting like the only way to be completely cured of it is to change your gender.
So number one, you can't. Oh God!
What if
this
it's
is
just
why I
a
hate
vulnerable
no.
person
So,
that doesn't actually
I'm
have
not-
it?
Okay, I'm not.
You know?
I'm not having. Just to be clear, I'm not having a problem with you right now, or what you're saying. The problem I have is with all this bullshit language the sophilists have normalized. Like we are not what they define as gender. That's all the head stuff. It's all the personality, interests, whatever, orientation, whatever they throw in there. All the head stuff. We are not changing that. That means that the term transgender is wrong in the first place because we are not transitioning gender. The gender stays. The psyche stays. That is not moving. What we are changing is the phenotype of the body, how the body looks. That is what the outside world can perceive. The mind stays in the exact same place. So and they change it to gender because sex is such a dirty word and it's so biological, and gender is this esoteric, nice, feely thing. It's just nonsense. It shouldn't be gender dysphoria. It should be something else. The next thing is they're not listing the proper symptoms. That's why they list the genital surgery as the solution. This is bullshit. Because it's not mainly about the genitals. The genitals are, as I said, an aspect. If the actual operation would be a better technology, let's say.
Well, here's the thing.
More
Here's the
would
way
opt
I
for
look
it.
at it.
The relevant
Here's
point
the way
is,
I've always looked at it. I'm going to let
Okay.
you finish your point first.
Okay. So the actual problem is when you have real gender dysphoria, what gives you so much pain is not, oh, I have a dick, I'd rather have a hole. No, that's not it. That's not it. That's not it. As I
It's
said,
the way people
it's
treat
like
you.
5%. Like 5%. It's like your brain expects to interact with the body of the other sex all the time. It expects the nervous signals of a differently shaped body, of body parts that aren't there, of parts that should be in a slightly different position. It's like you play an MMORPG.
So you're saying it's more of a physiological problem than a social problem.
It's completely a biological problem. The social stuff, this is tertiary at best. It's a purely biological problem, and it's an internal problem. It has nothing to do with clothes. That is all just secondary and tertiary, and it's just so. Hey, how do I best fit in with all of that? How do I? Let's say even though the voice isn't helping, I know, but there's a girl inside that wants to do girly stuff. Yeah, okay. But I don't get pain from not doing girly stuff because, well, I'm also lucky that due to the autism, I'm very tech interested, I guess. But that aside, what you want is you want to get rid of this full body ghost limp problem.
I want to dwell on something that you said because it was very interesting. Because I've never heard anyone else make the claim, and I think it might be a valid claim. So you made the claim that we have people in our modern era that expect to be socially treated like the other gender. And you think that those people are being inappropriately given this diagnosis that is the same diagnosis that people whose biological processes are out of whack get. Is that what your claim is?
What are the two things you just
So the two things are people that just socially want to be treated like a girl or a guy, and they're the opposite, versus people whose biological processes are actually out of whack and are expecting a differently shaped body.
Yeah, and one is a real condition, and the other is a fetish. Like cross-dressing is a fetish. That's not trans, and it's a paraphilia, and it's not harmful or anything. It's just stupid to do it in public. And there are other fetishes that they're trying to sell us as, oh, this is trans, like the orthogonophilia thing, which is people who fantasize about having female body parts and bodily functions, and they get aroused by that. When I deal with my gender dysphoria and did the if you wanted crossplay is probably the wrong word, but tried that out just to see how do I feel better that way and all of that. That was never about arousal. It was about finding peace. That's the big difference. It's not a fetish. It's about finding peace somehow. Can I look in the mirror and see myself as okay, not as awesome and beautiful, just okay.
So your claim is that you're making a larger claim, which is part of your lesser claim about the gender dysphoria misdiagnoses. Your larger claim would be you think it's a problem that our media kind of celebrates these fetishes.
Yes.
And makes people think
and it's the socialists who are pushing the fetishes because they conflate it with the actual condition, and they conflate it deliberately because they used the actual condition as a stepping stone to normalize all of this other stuff, which they do in order to justify their blank slate theory, their social constructionist theory, that everything is a social construct and everything is a choice and everything is just induced into you. And the problem with that is, and I said that for years, is if everything's a social construct, if gender is a social construct, if biological sex is a social construct, then why can I not talk myself out of it? Why can I not change the gender, the stuff in my head, to fit my body? Why can't I do that? Because I'd rather do that and have a normal life and have a normal family and have kids and just be happy. Because that's much easier. That would be much easier. So because, and we know this we finally have some studies on this. I've said this for years because I've talked with a lot of people, and man, I was surprised by the actual effects of hormone therapy. I expected, because of this whole body ghost limp thing going on, that, as I said, it's like you play an MMORPG and it loads the character. It looks like your character, but it loads the hitboxes of another character model. So everything's a bit out of whack. And you have to play the game, but you have to get used to the hitboxes being out of place.
It's a very funny metaphor.
Yeah, but that's rather how it feels. Like, for example, I always had the internal feeling that my hips are wider. So when I saw that, then they really are. So when I have to squeeze through a tight spot, I thought that I'll never fit through that. And then I go through there, and there's like a hand to half a hand wide gap everywhere, and it says, okay. So over the years, I get used to that in the way that I know I can still fit through that from experience. But the feeling that I shouldn't is still there. The feeling's not updated. So that it's like the body map in your brain is just loaded the wrong way. It developed into the other sex's expectations. And so your brain sits there and loaded the wrong drivers, or the wrong software, essentially. It's wetware, it grows into that, and then it's just, why are all these alarm blinking lights going off all the time? This is annoying. So why what is this? Why is this body not doing what we expect it to do? The body is correct. You brain, you fucked up. You developed the wrong way. And what we now know, thankfully also
There's
from
actually a
studies
word
and
for
not just
that.
from
I
anecdote.
couldn't. There's actually a word for what you're saying, and I didn't remember it, so I had to look it up. The word
Yeah.
is proprioception, and that refers
Okay.
to your ability to physically sense where your body parts are without looking at them.
Thank you. If you can type that in DM so I don't, it doesn't get lost
Yeah,
for
I'll
me, that
type
would
it.
be awesome.
Yeah, there's actually a
'Cause
word for it.
that's great. There are some other terms that I still need to put together to puzzle all of it to get all of it together. That probably scientists already did. Anyway, the relevant part about hormone therapy is that, and I was completely surprised because, as I said, I expected that more body parts need to change more for that. Like, for example, the most obvious is the top heavy part, but interestingly enough, it just took 2 to 3 weeks of hormone therapy. The body barely does anything in that time. But the gender dysphoria went down after 2 to 3 weeks of hormone therapy. It went down about 80%. That's manageable. It's still in the obvious places. Like, what is the most different place between the sexes? Of course, the sexual organs. However, when it's just that, yeah, I still notice that, but all this other stuff is gone. All this other stuff is down. Down is better than gone, and that makes it manageable. Like 20% of that gender dysphoria that drives you to suicide over the course of 20 years, that's actually okay. If it's just down to 20%, that's okay. You can deal with that. And there's been studies out now that mapped finally did some brain scans pre-hormone therapy and post-hormone therapy with the same patients for once that had properly diagnosed gender dysphoria, and they had anomalous parts of their brains in regards to size, yes, and not as you would expect. So it's not just a clear female versus male brain thing.
So these misdiagnoses cause brain damage, is what you're saying?
No. I'm talking about actual cases.
Okay.
Actual gender dysphoric cases. The gender dysphoric brain has anomalous growth patterns. Like there are, I think in the limbic system in part, and it's not just that it's a male brain in a female body and the other way around. It's even more weird. Like some limbic system parts are, so they're bigger in the male brain than in the archetypal female brain. However, in the male brain with gender dysphoria, that part is even bigger than in the typical male brain, and even smaller in the female brain with gender dysphoria. So it's in the other extreme than you would expect. It's counterintuitive. However, cross-sex hormone therapy normalizes this.
Okay.
So and this normalization is in the same time span that I and many others before this study was made reported that the gender dysphoria is going down significantly. So this is there is a correlation here between the normalization of these brain areas due to the cross-sex hormone therapy and the going down of the gender dysphoria, the actual this body phantom thing.
Okay.
That is the actual issue, and this has nothing to do with any social issues. This has nothing to do with clothes or
so
whatever sexual orientation you have.
You're saying a true diagnosis corresponds with a purely physiological problem.
Yes, and there was, I think this was in 2016. There was it's been for a while. It's been called the Barcelona study, but it was just at a conference in Barcelona where it was presented. I think it was in 2016, where they had fMRI tests made fMRI tests of patients, and the study was about being able to predict by brain scan whether someone had actual gender dysphoria or not, and they had a way over 90%. I think some 98, 99% accuracy. So they could absolutely reliably predict whether someone had actual gender dysphoria or not.
I see the study in
And
front of me.
social justice activists went in a hissy fit and torpedoed all of that because, of course, they do not want biologically reliable diagnostic tools that can tell this one has it and this one doesn't.
Because they want to use it as a social weapon.
Exactly, because they know they don't actually have it. Because if they did, there would be no problem with proper diagnostic tools. If you have proper diagnostic tools and you know that post-puberty barely anyone has any dysphoria left, that's just weirdos like me who are a minority of a minority. The minority being kids who have gender dysphoria, and the minority of that minority is the young adults who still have it after puberty. And those are the only ones you need to consider treatment.
See, we're going backwards. Everything you're saying, this is some very specific research. I have it in front of me now, and I'm not seeing this publicized in any news outlet.
Yeah, of course, because the news outlets are all part of the. They only publicize what's part of the agenda. This is similar to the mosaic study, the brain mosaic study, which has good data, but is deliberately completely misinterpreted. And it has been debunked
when
over and over, but the corrections about it were not publicized.
When people think that they have gender dysphoria, but they actually don't, what should we call that? Is it just delusion? Or is it something else entirely?
That's for the therapist to figure out, because there can be so many different reasons for why you can think you have gender dysphoria. And that's not that can be it can be an escapism. Some people make this is not hypochondria.
Case basis is what you're saying.
It's an absolute case by case basis. So you can have a hypochondriac, you can have a Munchausen patient, you can have someone who chooses this as an escapist fantasy in order to run away from other problems, life problems, to not deal with another health issue, for example. That could also be the case. Personally, I wouldn't label that as Munchausen then, or hypochondrial, but that as its own thing. But that's me personally. If there's a name for that, I don't know.
I have a question for you, and it's okay if you don't know the answer.
Yeah.
How young can we spot the differences in the sizes of the brain of someone that suffers from gender dysphoria, physiologically speaking?
I do not know the exact answer to that. I can only guess. And that is when this problem is beginning to manifest, the physical variant. I would say that would be, because there's also different types of gender dysphoria, at least that's the current classification of it. That is the from birth type. Those are all homosexual, by the way. So biologically homosexual. So biological males who end up being attracted to biological males. And then there's the type 2 that starts around the beginning of puberty, which is around 8 or 9 years old. And with that, I have a couple issues, because that is all labeled as autogynephilia, the fetish I talked about earlier. I think there are some fuzzy borders there. And maybe in some cases it's hard to figure out, because there are some things in earlier youth happened as well, due to some abusive childhood environment. That's also hard to puzzle out. There's a lot. It's really hard. But I'd say the biological thing, I'd say a safe time to be able to figure that would definitely be 8 to 9 years old, when the brain starts to go in a weird direction from the body. However, the relevant part, as I said, is since most of gender dysphoria goes away naturally, the true cure that we currently have as the species that is humans is finish your damn puberty without interference of hormone blockers or cross-sex hormone therapy, because then you have the biggest chance of having a normal and healthy life.
Which brings me to my next question.
Mm-hmm.
How often would you say people that undergo hormonal therapy get the necessary brain scans beforehand?
Never. because that's not a standard diagnostic tool. That only happens in studies so far. And personally, I hope that by now, if we didn't have the SJWs interfering, let's just say the socialists and communists, because they are so they have to have their blank slate theory real, and they used us to perpetuate it by making up a fan fiction about our condition, and that is why they are at the same time torpedoing any true research into our condition, because the truth of our condition is actually doing the opposite to the narrative. It dismantles
anybody with insurance can get an MRI or a brain scan or a CAT scan.
An fMRI is a bit different than a standard MRI. An fMRI is about really how is your brain, let's say, how is it thinking? Where are where's the brain activity happening? What's going on? What are it's much more intricate, and it's a very young technology. We think we only have it for 15 years, I think.
Well, you can still get an fMRI if you have the right insurance, but you're telling me that people that, so the people responsible for giving
but then you need to be able to read it. You need to be able to know what to look for and what to...
people that are responsible for giving patients these hormonal therapies, they don't request fMRI scans prior to providing that treatment?
Yes, because that is not a part of the diagnostic process right now. And as far as I know from the Anglosphere is that they barely check anything. In Germany, the process is still at least somewhat stable. I am a bit scared to look up what has changed by now, because we get all this horrible stuff in Parliament now. But here's what happens in Germany. At least when I started on this stuff still, is first off, you take some blood samples. You check for hormonal imbalances. Is something going on there? You make you test the karyotype. So you test for genetic anomalies.
That's too expensive. Just make me a girl. That's too expensive.
Shut up. Because this is relevant. Because you need to check if there is. Do you have some genetic issue, for example? Like, are you having some XXY thing going on or something like that? Then it's not gender dysphoria. You already know that. Then it's some weird other genetic issue. That would be an intersex issue. You can have some weird organic anomalies going on that can need fixing. Something that has nothing to do with the gender dysphoria, but for example, where you also test your hormonal levels is for, or where you easily find it is for thyroid issues. You find low TSH thyroid hormone, and then you know, maybe we should check the thyroid properly and give you hormone replacements for hypothyroidism.
It seems like they're bypassing all of that and jumping straight into it.
Exactly. Yeah. Because they just say, and it's all completely reversible, which it isn't. And by the way, then after you did the blood work and you checked the genome, you get an ultrasonic, for example, to check. Is there some organic anomalies? Like there are rare cases, very very rare cases. This is for a differential diagnosis of all the intersex conditions. Do you have a underdeveloped uterus in your belly, for example? That would also be an indicator for some intersex issue going on. Then it wouldn't be gender dysphoria, but those things can manifest as weird other things, and that's part of the stuff that's done here. So before we start any of the psychotherapy, we do all of the physiological stuff.
Mm-hmm.
That needs to happen, because if it's some intersex issues, you don't want to miss that.
It sounds like someone can just have the most minor insecurity about their sexuality, and it could be perpetuated into this thing.
Yeah, that is because, and that's also a trick. How they trick people into believing that with this whole they say they claim to fight against harmful stereotypes, which is just stereotypes. And well, at the same time, they are the ones defining and using those most extreme stereotypes all the time. And then they say, "Oh, you are not that stereotype completely. That means you must be trans." Or you don't feel like a man every day, or a woman every day. Then that means you must be trans. But honestly, what man thinks about, do I feel like a man today? Healthy people do not think about whether they feel like this or that all the time. Nobody really does that. I mean, it's like, because when you're a man and you don't have any health issues,
the only cure would be to become a shapeshifter.
You just feel normal. You just feel normal, and you cannot describe feeling normal. Nobody can describe feeling normal.
And if someone wakes up and doesn't feel normal, you have to figure out, okay, why do you not feel normal? Probably a psychological issue. Let's deal with it. Okay, if it's not, let's see if it's a hormonal issue.
Yeah, and they make it.
But it seems like everybody just went on the transgender train.
Yeah, and it's a rhetoric trick they use by making you think that, oh, if I don't feel like a man, and there's no explanation of what that feeling is supposed to be, that's something they don't give you. They do not tell you how it feels to be a man or how it feels to be a woman. The ideologues don't tell you that. They just make you think that, oh, if I don't feel like a man, and since I don't know what that is, I don't feel like a man, then I'm probably trans. It's a mental trick.
There's certainly something disturbingly casual about the way a document that is as professional and universal as the DSM-5 writes about.
I don't think the DSM-5 is very
dysphoria.
Professional, sadly.
Yeah.
The ICD has its issues, but it's at least I think it's a bit more grounded, even though the edition 10 is outdated, and there's a lot of good stuff in the ICD-11. For example, it includes complex PTSD, which is a bit different in its symptoms from normal PTSD. It's, as I've heard, very, very good in updates about all the physiological issues. The one thing I like about the DSM is its categorizations of personality disorders into clusters. That kind of makes sense.
Well, I think most of what it does is right. But with the gender dysphoria thing, it's trying too hard to be politically correct to really get any information down.
Yeah. And as I said,
just get therapy and take hormones. It basically just says get therapy and take hormones. It just says it in a more complicated way.
Yeah, and I'm sorry, this is not the only option. First off, you need to figure out, is it actual gender dysphoria or is it something else? Because what the DSM doesn't list is, what happens if you don't have gender dysphoria, the biological issue I was talking about, and you take cross-sex hormones. You take hormone therapy. Well, what happens is what we hear from all the detransitioners, that, of course, the media isn't covering because it's against the agenda. Many detransitioners tell you of feelings they had about their body when being on cross-sex hormones, when their bodies were changing, and a lot of that has persisted after they detransitioned. And if you listen to that, many people with actual gender dysphoria will tell you, well, that sounds like how I feel. Which, in conclusion, sounds like if you don't have gender dysphoria and you take cross-sex hormones...
It seems to give it to you.
Exactly. And it stays for the rest of your life. That's a likely outcome. And your body is ruined. You are infertile.
Here's my question about that. If you do not have gender dysphoria and you take the hormonal therapy and it then gives you those symptoms, are there enlargements in the brain?
I don't think that has been tested yet. It would sound like that. It would sound so. From the sound of it, it would indicate that. That's worth a study if you have the guts for it and can get the funding together. because a lot of this stuff isn't even funded in the first place because
Yeah,
it's
we'll
not
see
politically
who,
expedient.
We'll see who has the balls to do that, so to speak.
There are lots of people who want to do studies in this field properly, but they aren't getting the funding. Because it's not politically expedient. It's not politically correct. And the people and the institutes do not want to get the attention of the rabid activists. Or they have already communists sitting in their ethics boards or whatever and say, this isn't gonna happen with me under my tutelage. Nope. Yeah, the problem is that biology at large is already being subverted by anti-biology cultists, if you will. It's imagine young Earth creationists having taken over geology. It's kind of similar to that, and this is the big problem. And as long as people fear speaking out against that and taking back academia from quasi-religious zealots and cultists, we're going to have big problems. And currently we're running a worldwide experiment on children that no ethics board would ever have allowed a study on in the first place. So all this hormone blocker stuff, no ethics board would have ever allowed a study on that on children. I don't think so. And as it turns out now, these children who got that done to them at 14 and older, not only did their suicide rates or suicidal ideation increase over time, which we know from the NHS gender clinics who are specialized in that. And when your whole clinic is specialized on transitioning children, then you have a monetary incentive to get more child patients to transition. They had to reveal their numbers, and they showed that the children had, and mostly girls, by the way, had their suicidal ideation increase instead of decrease from hormone blockers, which doesn't surprise me at all. But furthermore, those children who had hormone blockers, who were told this is completely reversible, no, sorry. Puberty has a time lock on it, and what's not developed until that lock hits doesn't develop any further. And now many of these kids are 21, 22, and some of them are starting to speak out, and I still have to look and how legit all that is because it's a relatively new phenomenon. But I've seen stuff that's been giving me nightmares. Because they say, my heart is underdeveloped, it can't pump enough, so I'm always weak. My lung is underdeveloped, every breath hurts. And my life expectancy is maybe at 40 now. Also, I'm infertile. And I didn't have gender dysphorias. People should have warned me and should have intervened. Because I was a stupid child, I didn't know what the fuck was even going on. And at the same time, and of course, these stories are all suppressed. Because the socialists keep on telling us, oh, it's informed consent of the children. They know what they want and need. No, they're children. They don't know anything. They don't even have a prefrontal cortex. How the fuck are they supposed to make long-term decisions?
Yeah.
By the way, these are the same socialists who tell us that 14-year-olds, 12-year-olds should get the right to vote, and that they also should be allowed to have sex with 50-year-olds. Because they're pedophiles. This is where this whole child agency argument comes from. It's all from this, oh, children can give consent. Yeah, if they can give consent to this and that, then they can also give consent to the other horrible thing. And then, no, they can't.
From this information you've given us, Wisp, I think that these misdiagnoses are definitely a huge problem.
Yes, they've been for years now. We have a generation that's been made infertile and sick and ill and depressed and suicidal under the claim, under the guise, under the emotional extortion to the parents of those children that if you don't do this, if you don't give your teen, your early teen or even preteen hormone blockers and cross-sex hormone therapy, your child will go depressed and suicidal and kill himself or herself. Well, because that is something that does happen with people with real gender dysphoria, but usually that happens in the 30s and 40s. But that's and then usually only when they are alone, not when they have loving families, because that can balance the pain out somewhat. But But instead, this whole generation of children is being made depressed and suicidal because their lives have been ruined by a medical intervention they should have never had. This is malpractice on a global scale. That's just simply what it is. It's malpractice and child abuse. And sorry for this insane tangent here. I don't even know how we got started on it.
Well, actually, most of it was just information gathering. I thought it was very useful. But since we're only 9 minutes in, I think we should go ahead and continue the video.
Well, we're 3 hours and 20 minutes in, so that's up to everyone else.
So that's it for today.
Yeah, we can call it a day, guys. That's pretty long.
Yeah, we can call it here. Especially since Alex Halo is leaving. I don't know how we can possibly continue.
Oh my God, Alex, no.
I don't know how to. I still don't know how to say your name because it's 3 words. Yokai. I hope this helped you somewhat. This is just what I could gather together in my life so far. There's more information out there on stuff, and I'm happy for every new study that's coming out, and also every person on media with real gender dysphoria who speaks out, every detransitioner who speaks out. And there's I know it's we are the ones who being actually suppressed and being silenced by the socialists who pretend to speak for us. That's the big irony. And I'm happy for everyone speaking out.
For some reason, you're the only one on Discord that's not on my friends list, so I sent you a friend request.
Okay. Cool. If you want to hear more about these horrible stories that are going on,
I love horrible stories.
Good. Check out Rose of Dawn's YouTube channel. She's still covering this. She's one of the very few trans women who are still pushing for some basic truths about all of this stuff. There's not many left, and the channels of the trans women who are not social justice warriors, who are not on board with the agenda, let's say the algorithm doesn't like them very much. The algorithm likes the Lindsay Ellis's and the Riley Dennis's that spout absolute nonsense about the trans issue. And I can probably go on for another hour about more of this stuff, and maybe I should do something on my channel for once.
I think you can.
Maybe Smud can take out this entire tangent and you can upload it on your channel.
Oh yeah. That'll work. Anyway, we should probably get going. It's been cool listening to this, but I think we lost track of the video because it's just so dumb and one-sided and biased. So anything to entertain us for the rest of the duration is good. So 9 minutes in. Do you guys want to continue this tomorrow? I don't really feel up to it because this guy is...
I'll be honest. I'm going to be honest. I feel like we should change the video.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just leave this one. Let's just leave this one here and never talk about it again. I think this one doesn't deserve to continue it. This one doesn't deserve to continue. Let's just let it die.
I think it's only interesting because we made it interesting.
I think what we learned from this is that me and Yokai believe in nymph supremacy.
Yeah.
It was mostly your tangent that made this whole thing more interesting.
Oh, good, because I was annoying everyone.
No, we all definitely have our heads in the right place now, and if we didn't already, we at least learned a little bit more about this kind of shit.
Well, it's better than listening to some guy who thinks a bunch of animes are over-sexualizing characters who, from lore and depictions, aren't sexualized. Why didn't he attack, the other angels who are definitely sexualized? I didn't understand, wouldn't he be more offended by adult-looking...
Yeah, it's like how I said, why didn't he didn't even mention the third angel with the gigantic tits? That's such an obvious one to attack, but he didn't. He went for the lolly that's barely sexualized at all.
But I think he's just never been at a beach or water park.
He's socially deprived.
It's sometimes it's that simple.
I know it is.
All right. Well, I don't know what's going on with this gentleman, but I'm sure he's having a wonderful life, figuring out his wardrobe and hairstyle and makeup.
Hey! Don't diss his armor
More like-
of invincibility.
More like
his armoire
more
is
like-
awesome. I love that thing.
more-
I would love to
more
have
like-
that armoire.
figuring out his wardrobe, more like showing it off.
Yeah, that's...
Some say he's changing shirts to this day.
in all of his videos.
I have no idea what the trick is there. It's like it's not funny. I know a guy
I'm
who looks
telling
very
you, he's
similar
like-
to
he's like
you, but he has
getting
a funny
XP.
bone.
He's like getting XP during the video, and he keeps leveling up, so he changes
He
like,
keeps-
his appearance.
He keeps putting on better armor every time he cuts.
Yeah, and then we see the random
He's
one-sided
optimizing his
shoulder
stats.
plate, then the tiara with the little flame on top, and yeah.
And then
That's what those weird glasses are. They have good stats, but they look dumb.
Ah, yeah. Oh, the Burning Crusade problem.
No, the glasses are just an augment. That's why he always has them.
Burning
Trans-
Crusade. I haven't heard that in a long time.
All right, folks.
Oh,
Thanks for
do
tuning
you
in.
remember?
That was 3 hours and a half, so I think that's enough on considering that anime has a pedophilia problem. I think we can all agree, no, it doesn't. It really, really doesn't. It's a silly.
It does not.
It's a silly thing to say, such a general statement, and to back it up with, oh, it's just she's underage or this. Then it's dumb without ever actually watching the damn anime. That sort of pissed me off, but. Jeez. Come on. Better arguments here, people. So, thanks for tuning in. We'll talk to you real soon. And keep the voting coming, because I'm sure our mods are going to have fun figuring out which one to watch next. But it all comes down to you, what we're going to be watching tomorrow. So,
We'll catch you later.
We'll see you soon.
ladies.
Bye-bye.
Bye.